2, 1. Hey folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. We are here on a lovely Monday, January 27th, 2020. This weather is beautiful. I know that global warming may kill us all, but I say wear short sleeve while you got the chance, yo. I am Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G. And this episode has been brought to you by Rockstar. Whenever you feel like shit, drink a Rockstar and you'll feel like a rockstar. I'm bullshitting, y'all. We don't get sponsored, but Rockstar, goddamn, at least then we have some free ones.
Sucralose and cocaine in a can. Joining us today, our guest. Pleasure to have him in. A complicated man, a Gordon Gekko type silver tongue salesman, if I have ever met one, as well as an all around hilarious individual, the Gordito on the go himself, Omar Rodriguez.
I just gave time for you to add the loud crashing applause in the background.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. The soundboard doesn't come in until next week.
Oh, but
No, but I love your timing, man.
Yeah,
you got to leave them. You got to leave them room to edit, man.
Of course,
Dude.
Real.
I briefly brought this up earlier, man, but I had just remembered earlier today because I knew we were having you on. The first opportunity I ever got to be in a radio station on a mic, and it wasn't a bullshit fucking thing. You brought me in with a fucking a man who was running for a mayoral race at the time.
Yeah.
Fascinating character, but yeah, man, my first opportunity to be on radio was with you, sir.
And we talked everything. I want you to know, Sean Hatfield held his own, talking about everything from, that's right, maquinitas. That's right, the illustrious maquinitas of South Texas, legalized cannabis in Texas, and we talked about things like mandatory blood draws. Man, that was pretty cool, man. We had a really, really interesting show. Freddie, have you ever heard about mandatory blood draws by chance?
Man, go give me a bit more detail, maybe.
Dude, this is so crazy. So apparently, like, there's a Fourth and Fifth Amendment. You may have heard of them, right? Your right to not self-incriminate and your right to protect your person. These are like almost fundamental.
I know the Fifth Amendment. That's how OJ got off. Aside from his lawyer, he had a damn good lawyer, but.
Can you believe that he wrote a book that said, "What if I did
what if I would have done
it?" That's just
Cat Williams has a great joke about it. It was a real quick tagline that I liked. It was like, this motherfucker had the balls to write a book. And what if I would have done, motherfucker? What if he would have shut the fuck up?
You know what the funny thing was? To be honest, I believe the title was "If I Had Done It."
If I had done it,
he was like, I'd have done this much better.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so incredible though. You look at OJ, and if you had to bet back then who would be in jail today, OJ or our good friend Mr. Cosby, would you have picked OJ?
I would have picked OJ.
You would have picked OJ.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
For sure.
There was a slight bit of overlap, wasn't there?
A little bit. There's some time in there when they were. Can you imagine? Like, Cosby runs the west side of the yard. Like, can you imagine if that was no, never mind. That's too much. Too soon.
Is it just me or does it seem like Cosby would be the only motherfucker that would call him a rental?
Hashtag
probably.
Fruit. Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah.
That's
a good fucking point, by the way, too. That is.
I gotta ask, on the Rockstar, I admire.
We're not really sponsored. I was just
no. That's incredible. As a master salesman, by the way, hashtag Confessions of a Master Salesman. The following tip brought to you by Confessions of a Master Salesman. Anyway, shameless plug, bro. On the Rockstar, I gotta say, I love your style of classic negging, like almost making Rockstar know that they're unworthy of you, but that they should desire you. By tempting you with cases.
Oh, bro, you don't know.
Cases of Rockstar being delivered here to you, and I think that's admirable. I admire that
like
marketing.
25 fucking. I tell Sean, man, he got tired of it. For 25 fucking episodes, it wasn't Rockstar. It was, hey, and this episode has been brought to you by Dickies. If you ever want to feel like a real gangster, make sure that you come out and get your dick. I'm really trying to get sponsored by Dickies, man. These motherfuckers.
Hold on. Whoa. Hashtag This moment brought to you by Confessions of a Master Salesman. Bro, how could you go? I just complimented you for being amazing and using a classic technique. You're using the negging by making them want you, by you shoving them like a bad prom date to the sidelines as you pick up the cheerleader and go home for the glory, right? No. How dare you? How dare you in the next breath then say, Dickies, this and I love you, Dickies. I want you to be my. No, hell no. Neg them. Tell them, you know what? I wouldn't wear fucking Dickies. Pardon me for cursing. I haven't done that in quite a while. I usually keep my composure, but the man's passion is sincere. You wear Jenkos. You wear Pepes, but you tell Dickies, they go Ickies. It's what it is, man. That's what you got. You got to keep it clean. I can't believe I curse. How dare I, bro? This is. You were so passionate, bro. How many episodes did you do the Dickies plug, bro?
Like 10, 12.
Rockstar will send you a case before Dickies sends you a pair of pants. But remember, it was your classic nagging, bro. I would do an anti-Dickies campaign to entice them to sponsor you. Yeah, I'm down.
Or they might be like, fuck this guy.
Oh, okay. What if we switch it up? Start trying to court Carhartt.
You know what? Carhartt's classy, man. That's and I'll tell you this. You know what, Carhartt? If I was to sponsor, I'm not even gonna go there.
You don't fucking understand, man.
Look, you don't have to be seen as the chosen gear of inmates everywhere across the country. You could have a much classier, well, not much classier, but slightly classier vibe to your fucking look.
I really would like to be.
I'll throw it out there when I can.
Sponsored by Dickies because I would save a lot of fucking money, bro.
You are hardcore Dickies, bro.
I mean that's what I grew up on, man. Like growing up, like that's all I wore. Like it was Dickies in a white tee and
okay. So
Chucks.
So you look at that, right? You look at the Dickies, the white tee, and the Chucks, and people have talked about this, dude. We've talked about the iconic look. Why?
What do you mean why?
Well, like why? Like
because it's and we've talked about this before. It's like the surroundings that you grow up in, like that's kind of in a way like what rubs on you. But more so for me is the honest truth. It's because Dickies and a white tee and Chucks. Growing up, I wasn't into looks and I was broke too, right? But that was not the point. Point is that I wasn't into looks, so my thing was I hopped into whatever was the most comfortable. And I don't know if you've ever wore a pair of Dickies, man, but they're comfortable as fuck.
You know, as a fat person, I want you to understand, being poor and fat takes you into another category of clothing that has no brand and has like.
I went through that too. Sizes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's interesting though, bro. It's interesting. It's a different dynamic. I will say though, being poor and having access to the pulga was cool because I remember getting my first like Jabot shirt and it was like obviously fake, wrong color, but I rocked it, bro. Took off the tag, And I had. Have you ever heard that one really really cool Biggie song where he's talking about how he had fake alligators on his shirt and then like he has to fight somebody after school?
Yeah.
Like okay, that would have been like dynamically interesting, but like I looked at life and I realized like, dude, like that happened to me. Like you go through those moments in life, and it's not like it's profoundly evil or this or that. What it is, it's like you see how poverty is. And I was once told this is the most messed up thing that a mentor has ever told me that hit so hard because it was true. And he goes, "You know why you're fat?" I was like, no. And he goes, I meant that from my heart because he meant it from his heart too. He goes, "It's because you're poor." And like it hurts so bad. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? And he's like, well, yeah, man, it's the only joy you have. I can take a trip to Europe. I can cheat on my wife and get a mistress. I can do whatever. And he's joking around saying this and that. We can all do all these things. But the reality is like when you're poor, you find joy in diabetes. And it says it's almost structured that way because when we've talked about like the conspiracy theory where it all builds up. But when you look at like what's easily affordable and readily available and who is consuming that consistently, we are poisoning our shit. Mexico won't feed our corn to their cattle. Call me a liar. Yeah. By the way, I make all this up as I go along, folks. Challenge me at any point. I think I think this is a comedy show, so I can do those things, right? No?
Yeah, man. I was just thinking about it right now, man.
We can get crazy, right, in the conversation a little bit?
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck
that's what I told.
Is George Lopez the line?
Is he still alive?
No, I said, is George Lopez the line?
What?
How do y'all feel about that? I got to ask you, as comedians, like right now, right?
Wait, what did he do now?
No, but what did he do then? Did he do anything at all?
What are you talking about?
When he made the whole Trump thing and the blah, 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 that he was going to...
I go back to the same thing that I've always said and I've always stood by. I believe in our amendment right to say whatever the fuck you want. I believe the crossing of the line is when you actually take real action towards whatever you say. If I say, Sean, fuck you, I'm going to kill you, that should still be fine.
Yeah.
Now, if I go and harm Sean, or I even give him this, I still think it's fucked up. But let's say, fuck you, Sean, I'm gonna kill you, and say that in 3 days something happens to Sean, but I didn't do it. I genuinely didn't do it. Just something happened to him. Fine. Like, question me because of the comments that I made. But I mean,
I'm gonna tell you something. This is hardcore. This just popped in my head, so I'm going to share this. This is real. So one day, I went down to go pick up.
Can we get the mic a little closer?
Yeah, sure, man. So one day,
just pull it out.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's just that did this short time away at a ranch, and it's a thing about keeping.
I was
things
actually
hearing. I'm sure.
Yeah. It's like the horses.
It's the horses. Yeah. Hey.
I was actually hearing them very well.
Yeah, it's all good. But no. Hey, man. When you look at the dynamics of like society, man, where we're going, what we can do, let's go for the comedic value. Like, what is really the line? Do we still get to be the emperor, the guy who tells the emperor, "Hey, you have no clothes," or has that gotten too ridiculous?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. I really believe that it's when it comes to comedy, there shouldn't be a line. The reason in this day and age, I know I may sound crazy, but the reason as to why I say that is because, like, that's what we do. We're here to entertain people. And the reason that we entertain is because we alleviate things off the mind of the regular person that either really can't say it because they work in a corporate world, or they literally don't have the balls to do so. So as a comedian, if you really think about it, all we're doing is saying the shit that you think about but you can't say.
Okay, but think about this, man. Legally, okay, let's talk about like what we kind of tolerate legally in society, because you're not.
That's a very vague line too.
Okay,
so
well,
that's hard.
Fake news.
You're not technically allowed, at least my understanding of how the Supreme Court reads the First Amendment is you're not allowed.
And by the way, if you have a lot of money, none of this applies to you. Go ahead. That's just.
By the way, if you have lots of money and you'd like to send some of that money, send it to their Patreon account. It's listed here on the bottom. Yeah. Patreon.
So somewhere here.
Somewhere there.
When we say patron, we say Patreon, we mean patron. His name's Willie. He lives down the street. Okay, you're not the way it's been interpreted. You're not allowed to say I'm going to kill you. That's a threat, right? Yeah. In a lot of jurisdictions, that's straight up assault. I believe in Texas, actually, that can be. Okay, exactly. But here's the thing. If I say I'm going to kill you, and you immediately go, "Fuck it," and we start fighting, you've kind of foregone that, right? But let me finish. But if I say to you, I would love to fucking kill you right now. That's different and completely. I've just let you know exactly, like you said, man. As comics, we're here to kind of say the shit that you're not allowed to say directly, right? Like, if somebody just in your daily, like in your office, if like your coworker was just mad dogging you, was like, I would just love to fucking just murder you viciously right now. You'd be like, whoa, man.
And look, this is the argument that I hate that people make. The fact that they say, on one hand, they're like, oh, okay, well, it's because we take action because we're trying to prevent from something furthermore happen. Like if I say I'm gonna kill you, they take that as a threat, so we got to take action.
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you something. Hold on. That's not real. That's not real because you're real, and you're real because I've known you, and the little I've known you, and the much I've known you, and for people out there, whatever you think, whatever, man. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I have some very good friends. They're a little crazy. And I've more than once at some time had definitely a situation where somebody intoxicated or something either had a knife or a gun. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but I'm just saying, and in those moments, I chose not to take violence. And I think it's because you have to have a like cognitive understanding of the balance of things too, man. Like
I get
just because
it.
someone tells you something stupid,
No.
I'm not going to go assault somebody.
No,
just because I can.
I get it.
But,
I get it. But that's different.
But consider
that's different,
this.
though.
Let's say, all right.
What
Freddie,
you're saying is different.
No, but I've been threatened to, like on that same time. I'm like, whatever. Man.
I get it. I completely understand 1,000% what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what you're saying in this scenario and the scenario that I painted is different.
Okay, that's fine.
Because you're saying, like, if I was in that situation and I felt threatened, I would take a step back, whatever. That's fine. But you're literally saying, like, this person had a gun or a knife, or it could have gotten to an altercation. What we're talking about is when you literally say either I'm on the phone or I'm on TV or I'm somewhere and I say, like, for example, and again, what I'm about to say, I take full responsibility for, nobody else. If I were to say, fuck the president.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or even if
No. There's a large step between fuck the president and
I'm going to kill the president?
There's a large step between that.
Okay.
Man.
Well,
I'm glad we now have that soundbite for the soundboard when it comes in next week.
Yeah. No. But okay, so you look at that, and there's a difference, but then there's a difference between you saying that, sitting on a podcast, having a conversation, distanced from an imminent threat situation, and to a plausible threat situation. So even from like a logistical standpoint, not logistical, from like a legal standpoint, there's a shade between like, and this is kind of interesting. Like Texas is kind of, I freaking love Texas, man. It's like Texas makes it to a point where you can't be stupid enough to give away your rights. Like there's certain stuff that like Texas, like part of our thing when we came in is like, all right, you are still a human. Like even if you're stupid enough to give away your land in a bad spot or whatnot, and like so you look at that, like we do have more rights than we believe we do. I got to say that also from that perspective. Like I don't think that. Look at George, right? Even to be questioned and to be bothered, that's a crazy.
By the way, was he ever questioned by the Secret Service?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened?
At this point, nothing.
They showed up. It discerned if he was a credible threat, and they knew he was.
So they left him alone.
No, but here's the thing.
Hold on. So they left him alone. Because I didn't finish following the story.
Yeah, ultimately.
Or is it still a thing?
No, he didn't have. I'm sure he's on a list somewhere. But yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm sure they won't be allowed. Well, they let Ozzy perform it in San Antonio after Piston. So whatever. You never.
I could be wrong, but I think George Lopez has been to like some of like the White House stuff before. Look, it's the same list. They just relabel it depending on what they want to use it for, man. Yeah. Look, but I was going to say, man, like, look, even if we're talking like private citizens, we're not talking public office.
Yeah.
I try.
That was good.
But if somebody says, I'm going to kill you, as you said, in certain situations, you have to take it into account. The whole idea of forgiveness is you've said something, but consider you're the person who's uttered something like that. You have declared out loud your intent to commit violence against somebody else. Yeah. You have now put yourself in there. Legally speaking, if we live in a society, if laws and codes mean anything, and the way we conduct ourselves, you've now put yourself at the mercy of that individual because they can, like, nobody knows how they feel. If they go, I feel threatened, they feel threatened.
Yeah, they pull out a gun, shoot you. I mean,
yes,
it's not like are they really at fault? Like shit, you just threatened the shit out of. Like it's like the dude who walked into the pawn shop and like tried to rob the pawn shop and like Granny's holding an AK and they blew him away. Like that's one of those real famous like 1,000 Ways to Die. Yeah, I get you, man. Like I get what you're saying too. Yeah, kind of in the bad spot.
Yeah, to Freddy, that's what I'm saying. Like there is a social contract, I guess, and part of that is like I can declare my say emotional state. I can say something like dude, how many times have you heard me use like say violent analogy? You know what I mean on this podcast? Shit like hell, man. I'm pretty sure in describing a medical professional I thought was a bit of a prick. I suggested that in a perfect world, he should be dragged behind a fucking pickup truck until the skin no longer hangs on him.
Okay, you went like...
I didn't name the professional out loud. But no, what he was doing, I thought was torturing one of his patients.
I know exactly what you're
crazy.
talking about.
Yeah. It was a family member. I was not happy. If I'd have been within reaching distance of him, I don't know what.
So you look at something like that, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Let's say you commit an act of violence again. Yeah. It's like, oh man, some of our like documented case history in America blows my mind. Like just what we're able to substantiate as like as a group and say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna let him get punished for that. Like the guys who come home and like shoot the invader in their own house, and then like they're in DC. So like DC is like a gun-free zone. So like you go to jail because you're defending your house, and somebody's attacking your wife or some shit. Like how adults can sit in a room and send a grown man or a grown lady like to jail for defending their home, like blows my mind. Like in a modern, like in any age, like it's just stupid. God, I'm glad I'm in Texas. I'm sorry.
Well, dude, it's been less than 10 years that Heller versus DC, that the residents of DC basically won a Supreme Court case that said they were allowed to own firearms.
Well, yeah, man. Okay, but then you can't fire within the city limits. So it's like one of those things where you.
No, but I'm saying it's only been a short period of time that they've had that.
No, but even before then, like there's also restrictions within firing within city limits itself,
right?
And then within having certain kind of training calibers. So it's like for me, I've always believed a few things. Don't mess with the simple shit, man. Don't mess with other people's stuff. Don't mess with another person. You're pretty much going to be all right. It's kind of just how life rolls. You know what I'm saying?
That kind of goes back to what I was saying, man. If you declare an intent against somebody, you have basically put the
verbal.
Yeah, unless you are declaring it as you are following through with the action, you have given them opportunity to take action of their own. You have put yourself at their mercy to some intent. It's kind of like the way, when you get taught how to throw a punch as a kid, they always tell you not to wind back the punch. It's like, don't fucking telegraph that shit. Like you've seen that shit where like, I've seen grown adults do it, which is ridiculous, where somebody will cock back a punch like they're threatening to punch you. Like, not in a, you flinched, but in a, like, well, I want to fucking hit you. It's like, look, dumbass, you've already let me know that you're not serious about this situation, or you wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? And I think in a lot of ways, man, like, okay, think of it this way. If somebody's stupid enough to, not necessarily enraged enough, because don't be wrong, crime's a passion, whatever, it happens. Temporary psychosis does occur. But if somebody is, say, just generally stupid enough to declare a threat against another individual, on some level, maybe they're not dangerous in the sense that, like, like a mad dog or something like that, but maybe they're dangerous on the level of, like, somebody with too low of an intelligence around heavy machinery. You know what I mean? They're a danger to themselves and others.
How about, like, the Mr. Glass evil? Like, the supervillain, like, I will find the one who will live, the one who will die. Like, what if you have, like, the mastermind? Like, those people are among us in society, too. I used to do the joke where it's like...
right, but are they going to be the ones that are going to be stupid enough to declare themselves? And I know we've gotten far abroad from the topic.
From the topic, yeah, of course.
What you can say in comedy. But to be honest, man, we got to know where these lines are, or we can't go up there and be...
Oh, just to be clear, though, on the note of George, what he said, don't agree with the man, don't like his policy, think he's funny, very successful, would love to be anywhere near that. But... dude, freaking hilarious. Gotta say, abuse of power. Don't think he should have, like, get the hell out of here, dude. We got better shit to do than to send Secret Service to George Lopez's house. Well, like that. Just tying it off full back circle when you really look at, like, waste of appeal.
Fair enough. But I don't,
come on, man.
I don't weigh it too heavily just because of the fact that a lot more
and I like the current administration. I've been clear and open about that for a long time.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, under multiple administrations, there have been far more frivolous investigations into threats, perceived or otherwise, or actual.
And I'm not a fan of any of that. I think people should be left alone, and I think people who are in positions of authority should stick to and should remember that they're servants.
Well, I was reading something earlier today where they were talking about a something that happened, I guess, during the Adams administration, early in the revolutionary, whatever. I guess this is pre-1800 or whatever.
Cool, man. Which Adams?
John Adams. And John Adams, and that's right, there were multiple Adams. Forget about his boy. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson are walking down the street in I forget where. I don't think they were in D.C. at that point. Anyway, point is, they're walking down the fucking street, and it's just them. Like, somebody walked up to them, said something, blah, blah, blah. This is a whole account of, like, them kind of, like, they're recounting, like, having done this thing. Long story short, the comments you're seeing in, like, under where all this stuff is posted is shit like fucking, like, Jesus Christ, can you imagine, we don't have fucking security, Secret Service, and, they'd have, like, 5 levels of security, and you're going, well, I mean... That speaks to the idea that the president is now more than ever a symbol rather than an individual. You know what I mean?
Franklin's idea of a successful government was completely governed by the populace, and it was to be drawn at random so that people felt the need to rush home and have no stake in the government. And he thought it was so crucial to just be chosen at, like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm with my wife, and we had a kid, and I'm a doctor. And, like, no, you got to go, man. Like, you made governor. Like, you got to go serve. Like, can you imagine in a hat, bro? Like, yeah. And like, we would pick, like, able-bodied people who were intelligent people, and, like, and hey, man, like, this is your responsibility. You're a good tax person, and you're a good, like.
Okay, how about this though, man? Because I don't necessarily think like free drop any more than I think I've said this on here before, man. I would in no way ever be a proponent of direct democracy on the federal level. Direct democracy on the even at the state level can be a great thing. You look at, say, what do you call it? State, fuck up, not edicts, but
oh, good. Sorry.
What is it? Where basically you put it out to the population to vote.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should need to do that immensely in our local municipalities. Like, there's things that are just it's ridiculous. It's insulting to an intelligent populace to say, hey, you know what? We have a real problem. We don't address it, and we invest in programs that are not to say that things like medians. I'm sorry I don't agree with medians, but not to say that medians aren't important and they don't cause safety. But anyway, anyway, that those things work, right? Whatever. But
they don't fucking work.
They don't work. But let's say they do, right? And you put all this money into those projects. Wouldn't have been cooler if we had done a soup kitchen and like fed people or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think if you polled the people of the community who you tax and you'd ask them what they'd want, that'd be cool. Like, that'd be cool, like what we spend our... If you ask people if they want people getting speeding tickets for going 5 miles over the speeding limit or 10 miles over the speeding limit, I bet you 100 of them would say no. And I bet you if they knew that most municipal bonds that collect those freaking taxational funds, I bet you if they knew that those funds don't come back to us into our little community, I bet you if they knew that, they would think twice about taxing themselves for something that they don't keep. And they would look into, like, who are bondholders to those private entities and investment ventures.
Well, that's right. The whole you just mentioned. I think the whole problem to that whole thing, the fact that it's private, is a big issue.
It's not private, but it is, I guess.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's public, but it's private.
No, but it's private
because it's a club kind of.
It's the same fucking thing. I mean, I know these are two kind of opposites, but they share a common bond. Same fucking problem that we have with the prison system in America. For as long as prison basically is for profit, it's just fucking broken. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Freddie, though, consider something that we've talked about before, you and I, the idea of punitive versus corrective justice. Like, you've said before, like you think that the criminal system there should be a punishment aspect as far as like. Not just say in you get taken off the streets and all that, but I forget the specific conversation we were
rehabilitation.
Yeah, the where we kind of left off the last time we talked about this, like you didn't seem to be like say, and you may have been talking about egregious crimes, but you didn't seem to leave a lot of the door open for the idea of like the rehabilitative side of.
No. What I said was. That I do believe in rehabilitation, like real rehabilitation and giving people a second chance. Mm-hmm. But I, on the same token, I also believe that there's certain crimes that you cannot be rehabilitated from. And my other big issue is the inequality in the crime. So if me and Sean go and commit the exact same crime, we go into a Stripes, rob the store with the same, not the same gun, but the same kind of gun, same way, take the same amount of money, we leave, we get caught later, the probability of me getting more time or a bigger punishment than Sean, me, is way higher.
Hold on.
Unfortunately, that's very realistic.
It's even more than that. Watch. Check this out. And it's very realistic, but it's even scarier because of the following. So imagine whatever crime it is, right? Imagine the worst crime you think it is, right? Or whatever it could be, right? Let's say you ate my chicken wings from my plate, right? That's the crime, right? Now, I want you to say the first 5 words that you think describes what your punishment is, and then you say yours. Go for it, bro. What do you think your punishment is? You ate my chicken wings.
What do you mean the first 5 words of it?
Like for example, describe it in 5 words what you think your punishment would be for eating somebody else's chicken wings.
Going to jail?
Okay,
stealing?
Yourself. Okay, going to jail, stealing. Yourself?
Repayment.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you said going to jail, stealing. You said repayment. So that's 2 philosophies. That's 2 perspectives. It's 2 individualistics. So as you look at this perspective, there is a Reformed theologist, probably about 20 years from now, when people look at modern Reformed theology, they'll look at some of the writings that this guy's done. His name is Božidar Marinov. He's out of the Houston area. He's a Reformed Bulgarian preacher. Interesting character. He talks about how when you look at biblical interpretation and the law, it's fundamentally flawed, our modern system, because we, the public, if a child molester, for example, who is attracted to children, cannot be reformed because, like, for example,
that's one of the examples I was going to use.
You'll be 80 years old. I'll be 80 years old. Sean, you'll be 80 years old. I've known you for a while, Sean. And I'm not saying we can be. Chris Rock said it best. A man can learn not to chase after women, and he can even be domesticated. But like, if you're 80 years old and you see a beautiful woman, you still recognize her as a beautiful woman. Right. But somebody who's a child molester, that's their attraction. That's what they are. So they have that compulsion in their existence. So he talks about how if you let this person live, you are punishing society, because now we have to carry the burden and pay for that and fund that and keep that person alive. And that is a punishment. It's a double punishment. It's not just a punishment for the payment. It's a punishment that we have as an understanding within our society, that is still on some level an acceptable act, and that we will keep you alive. It's almost like from a biblical perspective, it's almost like a punishment. Like, we get that because we deserve that. But if we were to execute that and like extinguish that life form, it would encourage less of that activity. And that it would diminish. Like, that's what he feels like. Like, from a biblical perspective, that is what God is demanding, and that's what would align us more with what we're supposed to be at. To have the courage and the conviction through our belief system to, like, compel these individuals to understand that is damnation. Like,
well,
for them to rape somebody. What if?
And I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just giving you the
nobody thought you were
the perspective of it.
You're a chicken wing eater.
No.
You leave my chicken wing alone.
What about the people that don't believe in religion? Where does?
Oh no.
Okay, can I come in? I want to agree with you. On a certain level. Like, look, if we were out in the desert and everybody's got to be paying attention just to survive. We've got obligations and pressures upon our existence that compound any trouble that we make for ourselves. In that case, you take the kid out back and you put him down. But here's what I'm saying. I do believe if we are aiming at this higher society, and I'm not talking higher minded as in, the attempts to reach like angelic grace of like, we just love you for who you are. No, I'm saying higher in the sense that we can take on obligations that we would otherwise, that we have the resources to do so. and that otherwise, if we were under pressure, we would not willingly take on. Like, look, if we have enough resources that we can keep an eye on Bob for, however long his natural existence is, if we say have some confidence in a chemical castration,
which now that's where I was going. Which now technically you can. I mean, I'm not saying like kill every pedophile, because at the end of the day, I mean, what I'm about to say is really, I'm not siding with a pedophile, but at the end of the day, when you remove pedophilia out of the equation, that person is still a person like me and you, right? So I
gotta say, Freddie, I'm not gonna let you get away with that. I was going and scrolling through your Facebook page, and I saw that post the other day. And I'm gonna have to call you on it, brother. It's the one where it's what does it say? This guy's. I'm gonna have to look it up, bro. I'm gonna put it on here. I'm gonna put you on blast, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah. Be wary now, dude.
But what is it?
No, it's coming. It's coming.
Right, so what I'm saying is, my point is that there's things that you cannot, that I feel, again, I'm not perfect, I don't know everything, but I feel that you cannot be rehabilitated from. And it's great how both of you brought up the same example. It was an example that I was going to use as well. When you're a pedophile, do I believe that that's naturally how they feel? Yes, absolutely. I 100%.
Okay, just to put this in perspective, though, I would, as far as you want to talk about threat levels, I would put a previously offending pedophile, somebody that has gone out and acted upon these impulses, in the same camp as a habitual violent offender.
Okay,
like it's on some level, whether it's psycho, a psychological issue, or whether it's maybe just some sort of drive, hormones or something. Okay. That's a part of their aspect. So, and again, if you're on a desert island, if you're in a survival situation, yes, you should probably take them out back and do it as quickly as possible. But
okay.
Like here's the thing. I've been around enough, repeat violent offenders that
I thought it was enough pedophiles. Well, shit.
None that have ever been stupid enough to admit it to me.
It's crazy though.
Hold on, because you're losing me. What I'm not understanding is okay. Up until this point, I agree with you, but I don't see your point. I agree with what you're saying.
Okay,
but I don't see your point.
Now, I do agree that the person who maybe they go out and diddle a kid one time, and for all we know, that's what I'm saying. There is a one too many aspect to that we don't have to violent offenders. But I'm saying the way that I
look. Let me give you an example, and so that you can really understand where I'm coming from. Let's say that I something happens. I don't know. I don't have time for a scenario. Something happens and I accidentally kill somebody, right? Okay. And it was an accident. Okay. Either he came at me, whatever.
You're driving on the road one night, and it's raining outside. They fall in front of your car. You run over.
No. Let's say that we were like in my house. Or I was somewhere, and they came at me or whatever, or I went at them, and I killed them, or say that we fought or whatever. But it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill. I genuinely didn't.
You push them, they fall, they hit their head on the thing, they knock themselves unconscious, they die.
Yes.
Okay.
That was an accident, right?
Not really.
I still go to jail because somebody died, so on and so forth. I serve time. I come out, but again, that was I didn't intentionally mean to do that, right? So hold on.
Okay.
So. This accident, I don't know what other way to put it. This accident doesn't exist when you can't say, yeah, I touched a little girl by accident.
Okay, but let's talk about gradients here. You got in a fight and somebody accidentally died in that fight is not the same thing as the kind of person that, say, I don't know, violently beats somebody up over a disagreement at a fucking,
card game,
gas station, what the fuck ever. They beat up their fucking girlfriend or their fucking sibling or their parents, whatever. A random stranger on the street because they didn't like the way they were looking at them or something. Okay, that is not the same thing as somebody who, say, through circumstance gets into a violent altercation and has catastrophic results from that. So the scenario you would compare that more to would say maybe the 22-year-old kid who goes to a party, gets a little shit-faced, and oh fuck, she was 15 years old. Shit, no, man, I thought she was.
Well,
but that's different. That's different. See, I see that. Okay,
I agree that's different. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you were doing a bit of a false comparison there.
What I'm saying is,
okay. So hold on, man. I think what's the line though? Like you got Iran. Iran just lowered their legal age limit of consent. Y'all know what age limit that is?
Yeah. Well,
look, that anything that goes down past menstruation, like menstruation is going okay. Fuck it, you're pushing a line here. But when you go down past the age of average menstruation,
okay, so then it's not age.
Crazy
okay, wait,
bullshit.
This is what he's saying.
Hold on. No, I
so
understand
then it's not age. So then it's not age.
I want to answer.
Well, I think that's too far in the line. You got to give them a few years to fucking get used to that shit.
I want to answer your question more directly. Yeah. It's fairly fucking simple, bro. You have to look at it from this perspective. Just because it's legal doesn't make it right. So I'll give you an example. Let's not forget, slavery was legal at some point.
Mandatory blood draws today is legal, and it's a travesty. It's a violation of our human rights.
So it doesn't, just because it's legal, it doesn't make it right. That's all I got to say.
I feel like mandatory blood draws is like raping the American public, straight up. Pulling somebody over and taking a sample of their blood by force because you feel like you have the need to do so is freaking crazy. Like
the thing that's always gotten to me, man, is...
Well, I mean, people look at me weird when I say that I don't think it's right for you to be able to pull somebody over and ask them for proof of citizenship.
It shouldn't be. I don't think so.
But in Arizona, I mean, they...
But that's okay.
Okay. Just to play fair to the crazy-ass motherfuckers out in Arizona, that law I believe you're referring to, the only way they could run that check and ask you for proof of citizenship is if you were being arrested. Not if they pulled you over.
No, okay.
Not during a traffic stop. You had to be arrested for an offense.
It leads back to what I just said earlier.
I'm not saying it's not bullshit. You just
said the magic words. You have to be legally detained and arrested. That's what's on the paper. Now, what really gets done, a lot of the times is completely different.
There are a lot of cops here in Texas. There are a lot of cops here in Texas that will walk up to you on the street and say that they have the right to demand ID from you. They don't under Texas law, but they will.
I mean, my situation is not as drastic, but it's real though. That joke, my closing joke, I'm not going to repeat it on the podcast, but my closing joke that I use as my set about being pulled over.
Yeah.
That shit, like it's a joke, but it's not a joke. It really does happen.
Yeah.
So technically, you shouldn't ask me those questions.
Oh, brother, yeah, I feel
you. You know what I'm saying?
Why did they pull you over, man?
Huh?
I've never asked you that. In the actual scenario where that happened, why did they pull you over?
There's been different reasons. I've been pulled over for speeding. I've been pulled over for failure to
looking suspect. Signal.
Okay.
So shit like that. Yeah. So those were the so it's happened more than once.
Okay.
Have you ever felt that it was being brown on the wrong side of town? Have you ever? Be honest. Nah. You never felt that scenario?
No.
Felt it once.
No.
West Texas. East Texas. Oh, that beautiful Viter.
Put the gas down.
Shoot, you should never stop.
Sun up, sun down, doesn't matter. Don't stop.
Make it to the next town. Yeah, Beaumont's not that far.
You get out where the bushes are and you pee in them bushes.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust that.
Yeah, but it's like the two topics that we're talking about are very relevant. But I mean, just to cap that off, at least on my end, I really feel that because there is, and let's be real, there's only two prominent political parties in this country, and the powers that be will never.
That's not true.
I mean, you feel that way. I respect that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just.
You did say prominent political parties, right?
Yeah.
I tell you this: you're more powerful on that microphone than you would ever imagine, and you're more powerful on that microphone. Like I talk to single moms, man. Single moms who have kids with disabilities. Mm-hmm. They can move mountains, bro. The thing is, most of us lack the courage in moments until we're pressed up against that little wall. But this generation, the podcast generation, we're going to change shit. Like, I think we're going to get to the point where we start having real line item ballot. I hate to say Facebook voting, but damn it, I'll take it. If we start having some logical voting where people
that's what I don't understand, dude. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why in an age of fucking technology you still gotta go to a motherfucking booth to fucking vote. Why? Like, there's an app for you that tells you when you get your fucking period. Why can't you have an app?
People don't trust the information to have a secure line.
So how the fuck do you, if you don't trust?
And I'm not saying that a secure line can't be established, but there is enough ignorance. And
look, check it out. So I used to work for a certain entity. I'm not gonna say who, but they were because they handled very sensitive information. Right. They were very secure. So. But
how long were you employed by Chippendales?
Now multiply that by 350 million.
Freddie, how long were you employed by Chippendales? Was it a long-term gig or an annual thing?
First rule of Chippendales: you don't talk about Chippendales.
I had one summer. I made the big money.
There was an app where I could clock in from my phone, and the connection was encrypted. Now I can say that it was a government entity that I was working for.
Okay.
And everything was encrypted. They couldn't see your information. They couldn't nothing. But through that, and that's what it was. It was an app. You open the app. It asks you for your credentials. You put in your credentials, press send, and you're clocked in from your phone. So if they could do that, now they say, well, they can't do that because, like you said, there's 350 million people. How can you verify that person is of legal age to vote or whatever? That's one of the that would be one of the issues. So my thing is, again, these fucking things are so high tech that I don't know. I'm not a tech magnet, but can't you build something to where you have to take something from my face and send it somewhere in some database where that will verify?
Let me throw up two arguments that will immediately come up if you were to go take that concept where you're talking about, or that argument that you're using, and go into a political forum, a debate, a legislature house of any kind.
Well, they're not going to let me in the door, first of all. But
motherfucker, if you find somebody, if you made enough money from comedy,
just knowing,
Freddie, if you could bribe a senator and they could go in and present the case. But let me finish. What I'm saying is, the first argument is going to be, you're talking about the phone verifying your information. That's a breach of privacy, brother. You saying Big Brother's going to be able to fucking read my face from my fucking cell phone, have my fingerprint?
You would have to agree. Bro, they already
shut up. Don't you bring logic into this.
They already do, bro. They already do. They already do.
Hold on, look. I want to tell you this. I've been working on this comedy set for a while, man, and I want you to know this. If we're going to go, if we're going to go to war for profit, bro, and we're going to go bomb people, I want my cut. Like, I'm down.
South Korea, I'm right with you. I'm there with you. We take out Samsung.
Give me war bonds. Give me some shares. But if I'm not going to get a cut, I'm down. But let me do what the hell I want with it. Like let me keep grandma alive. She may need a knee surgery, or you know what, dude? Maybe I need some housing for a homeboy. Like, you know what? I'd rather give my homeboy housing than go bomb children in another country. Like, hashtag fucking no mames.
Well, dude, all right, think about it this way. What if but think about it this way. What if every year you knew exactly how much your taxes were going to be? Every year. They do know. No, I know they do. There's shit in front of the Supreme Court right now. There's legislation that's been up.
Forever,
fuck H&R Block.
Everything that you know, everything that you're saying, everything that you're saying, whether you want to admit it or not, they know, bro.
Dude,
all this
I'm not.
shit.
Hey, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I got my barrister's hat on.
life on these conversations.
Yeah,
But look,
exactly.
But you're talking about being able to keep the money from
anymore.
being able to keep the money from the war bonds. Think about this. What if every year all of us, all three of us, had to pay $2,000 worth of taxes? $1,000 of that tax is going to the federal coffers, no matter what. You're paying that directly into the big slush fund. But the other 1,000 of that, you basically get a long ass checklist of all the government programs that you could pay for, and you have to pledge that extra $1,000
to something,
to some of those programs. You can pledge all of it to one program, or pick 1,000 of them and give them $1.
It's a lot more than 1,000.
But what I'm saying is, if you had that choice,
he's just putting an example.
You would very quickly be able to see which programs actually had the public support. And I'm not saying anything revolutionary. This would
have to be public record, by the way.
Again, you can do it on your phone.
Super easy, man.
No. But by the way, the second argument against what you're saying is, not everybody can afford a cell phone, Freddie. Are you trying to disenfranchise?
Bro, I'm going to say this. Bro. I helped out a lot this last year. I was blessed to meet a lot of folks coming from
By the way, this cell phone right here is actually worth $45. Do not ever let them tell you that technology is out of your price range.
Brother, everybody I saw from Central and South America. I know somebody that
can't afford $45.
Everybody that came in from Central and South America had a
that motherfucker can't afford to be voting. Let's be honest.
I don't know, but I meant what I just said. People who came from third world countries, from Central and South America, all came with cell phones. The majority of them, at least the standard, of what you're thinking may not be the standard.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. I'm not saying it to be mean or to be rude. I think people have a hard disconnection between what truth, reality, and the world that we live in really is.
Oh yeah.
And there's a real manipulation, man. If you think that the impeachment thing shouldn't scare you, it should, not because of what it is, because of what it's distracting us from. There are some things going on. There's some things going on in Iran that are so legit that are mind blowing. Things in China that are so legit on the pandemic side, on the human rights side, on the food side.
If I open up one of these apps, social media apps, right now, and there was somebody on there going, "They fucking killed Kobe just to cover up," name your fucking favorite conspiracy theory. I would not go, "That person's crazy. They should be shut the fuck down." I'd go, "Nah, man, I get it. I get it. I don't think that's true, but I get it.
Yeah. Because it's at a point where it's hey, man, there's shit that's so in depth in everything that's going on and who we are, that there's such big money that just moves everything. Look at our buddy. He was on your show the last week. Rudy Barber, the Vape King of South Texas. His whole industry, man, gone to shit on opinion. Hey, man. What happened to America, the land of the free, home of the brave? That's bullshit. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean we do have more people in prison per capita than anywhere else in the world, and that's a serious.
And you know why? Because it's privatized.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's so crazy. But we pay for that because yet again we don't follow certain kind of the belief of this gentleman I was talking about earlier is he has certain because you don't follow those theological principles. You have a trickle-down effect in the society's effect. And then, he's kind of stern on, of course, he's a Reformed preacher, so he kind of gets stern on the issue of the alphabet conversation and most definitely on the welfare and the social issues because, there's kindness to be expressed from a biblical standpoint, but then there's, the answer to poverty from a biblical perspective is work. That's the real... solution. If you're and able-bodied,
and people don't. I agree with that. People don't understand that fucking concept today, and that's what frustrates the shit out of me.
Hold on, I gotta say that. But that's I gotta say so. That's so biblical because that's if you want to take the Bible as a story, do it. But from biblical context, when you look at Genesis, it's in Hebrew or in Greek. It's written, and in Old King James, it is written clearly that is our curse. That is the rest of our day. The rest of our day, we are to be punished and live the rest of our life by the sweat of our brow. We will work and earn our living. That was from our fall. And I get it. I get it. For everybody who's against that, whatever. Yeah. But I will say, for those.
Omar's running over that quickly because we've had the fatalist conversation many occasions.
But I like how Louis C.K. looks at tying it all together. I like how Louis C.K. looks at it. It's like when he talks about abortion. He's like, hey, look, man, the Christians are nuts. They think it's a child and you're freaking killing a kid. And you think it's shit because, it's shit, but aren't you glad that they're crazy, and they think it's a kid? Because if they believed in it and then they didn't care, you'd be like, well, fuck, they don't care. And if they don't care, then why should I care? And it's like, it's so real. So like, don't you care that I care? Like for what it's worth, like from the perspective, I realize like, as crazy as every perspective or validity perspective is, it's kind of cool because none of us really know shit. Like for what anything's really worth, and the gamble of what the truth is of like, oh, it should have been this way or that way, or we're right or they're wrong, or we're better or they're better. Like,
okay,
like, just for what it's worth, Just saying.
We're coming up in a couple minutes on the first hour. I wanted to throw this out there to kind of make an attempt to kind of tie this intricate tangential web together at least in a little bit, or to make at least another connection. We were talking about like
on the second hour, I'm going to take it a whole different direction. We're going to go a little bit lighter, but
Freddie, just tell them you're going to take your pants off. It's cool, man. It's better if you say it up front. You get consent. See, now you know now. You leave them pants on.
I'm going to tell you right now. Do what you will. Do what you will. No. What does JC say? Do what thou wilt.
Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. The whole of the law under love, or something like that.
That's not Antoine LaVey. That's
Crowley.
That's Aleister Crowley, right?
Yeah. Crowley's the guy LaVey ripped off.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you feel about the Love Child of the Beast? You ever seen that crazy
yes.
with the Bush family and all that?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Have y'all heard about that? Have you heard about that, Freddie?
No.
That's so crazy.
Hey, look, she dead now.
We're all on the list. Like right now, if we're gonna have this conversation, it's a crazy list.
Wait, who's dead? What?
There was a
series of conspiracy theories. Right?
Basically, Barbara Bush may have been the love child of Aleister Crowley.
Did y'all know? Did y'all know that? And I can't confirm it. I wasn't there, but I read in two sources that Hillary Clinton had an affair in the 70s with Yoko, John Lennon's wife.
Dude,
yeah,
that just ties together a belief.
She came out and said it, and she even said that she had proof. I don't know what the fuck. What proof she's talking about? No. Yoko.
She scalped that pubis mound like a fucking just.
Okay, dude. So like, you got to see that. That's hardcore because that means that Bill got done in by somebody who did the unthinkable and kept the dress with his dribble for like 5 years, but homegirls getting done in by somebody who kept some panties from the 70s. Dude, that's gonna be like. Are they going to be in the Smithsonian? Because the dress is in the Smithsonian. Y'all know that, right? The Lewinsky dress is in the Smithsonian. Nobody knows this? I'm not making this up. I'm so serious. Like, I'm wondering now, like, if Hillary's chones will be next night.
I just want to believe as you walk up to the exhibit, the tour guide just pulls out one of those little tube black lights and just runs it over so you can see the stain exactly as it still exists.
Wow. That's mind blowing right now.
By the way, I just wanted to throw this out there again to tie this back together. It's probably we were talking crime and punishment earlier. Is there a real rehabilitative factor? And I think if there's any rehabilitative factor, consider this. First of all, under the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, slavery is still legal as long as it is punishment for a crime. Yes.
I was not aware of that, but I got to say this.
I was not aware of
that.
Go back and reread the 13th Amendment.
Is it like indentured servitude?
Essentially, but it's got to be to the government is basically the way it's working.
I wouldn't like it to the government. I think that should be like a thing.
Oh, so then that's why there's prisons. No?
Okay.
No. But when they say slave, go back and reread the 13th Amendment. They can use prison labor as slaves.
Okay. That I get.
Why.
Okay, hold on, wait.
So
but
that's
I
why
think
there's prisons.
Okay, but
no.
So that's why they can.
No, but a prison
not
is
pay
But a prison.
in
The idea of a prison exists. Yeah, technically speaking, they don't have to. Most states actually do. There are state laws that state that prisoners have to be
10
paid.
fucking cents an hour doesn't count.
But the federal government,
Okay.
no, there is no law that says that the federal, as far as I'm aware, there's no law that says the federal government has to reimburse any prisoner for work that they do. But consider this for a second. There have also been pushes to say that prisoners should be required while incarcerated to participate in, say, the running, the functioning, whether it's janitorial work, whether it's cooking, kitchen work, whether it's, maintenance, whatever the fuck it is. And a lot of those get struck down because, well, it would be exploitive. But I suggest this to you just as a thought process, because, I mean, I don't really know where I fall on this. Again, like you never get to get in front of a legislature, I'm probably never going to be asked to go in front of Congress either.
No, wait. Why do you say that? Why do you say that? That's not true.
Let me explain.
I'm an optimist. I think it could happen. I'm just saying.
As soon as they said,
I would question the person who chose to bring my ass in.
They run a full, extensive background check. And then a history of like work of like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Well, look,
no, hold on. Whoa,
it's like the old
Mr. Smith goes to Washington. No.
Think about it. It's like the old Groucho Marx quote about I would never join a club that would have me. Or I would never be a member of a club that would have me.
I mean, I get that, but no, no, at some point that's the problem. I don't believe that. No.
Okay, but let me finish the thought, because we are coming up on the first hour right now.
And not in a bad way. I'm all shits and giggles, but at the same time, like, okay, I have a little more hope in us, man.
If the idea to get and why prisons really would exist, or at least the only explanation I've ever been able to come up with, is the idea that we have the social code of conduct, right? And if you've broken that social code of conduct, you're irresponsible enough that we basically can't, in an ideal situation, I know it gets abused. We can get into that in the second hour. But in an ideal situation, we've decided that you are irresponsible enough that you need to be taken out of out of harm's way, essentially.
For physical harm.
But what I'm saying, if we have determined that you are irresponsible enough that we have to take you out of society, shouldn't the first step be to require you to take responsibility for your own being?
Okay, no, you're having a conversation that would suggest that as a society we're intelligent people. No, we are a society.
I'm sorry, that's the first.
That's the first. That's where you messed up. No, we're a society that today has decided that at some point it's more valuable to make profit off of a system that is proven to make a crazy amount of cash. And get the hell out of here, dude. If you asked 1,000 people on the street, hey, do you want to put people in jail who murder and rape people? Guess what they're going to say? Those people belong in jail. Guess who gets lower sentences? People who murder and rape people. If you ask people, hey man, you want to keep your cousin in jail for running illegals and smuggling some drugs or selling some drugs? As much as they hate to admit it, they'd rather say, no, I really don't. Why? Because they don't see it as a crime. I get that taxation's a bitch, but I think people should, if you committed a crime like Bernie Madoff, right? When he took.
I like that you took a second to clarify that.
Yeah, because I heard everybody just kind of like Bernie rose in the polls. He hit the algorithm. Oh shit! No, man. But when you look at Madoff, that guy shouldn't have died in prison. That guy was a genius. He's a freaking money. That guy should have been running a hedge fund the right way. Because that's what he did good. He moved the NASDAQ.
Might I suggest, again, in another attempt to tie this conversation back together?
We'll bring it back.
Madoff is the pedophile that if we have the resources to watch him for every day, rest of the day of his natural life, then he might be a productive member of society. Oh, yeah. But a lot easier to just throw him in a fucking cage and hope he dies.
No, Madoff should have been in a little wheel.
Hey man, on a more abstract level, just because I think we did learn something out of it. Say the same way we learned something out of Mangala. I think we should have kept. I think we should have kept Ted Bundy alive just to keep studying his fucking crazy ass.
I like that they used Bundy on the Green River Killer, and he really they wanted to get
where they
into
got
his
the idea from Hannibal, man.
Yeah, because he really wanted to get into the mind. Freddie, did you know that Ted Bundy? This is it's some Illuminati shit. The Bundys are one of the elite families. They're considered one of the top 13 families, and they were involved in some presidential races. He was involved in some really important primaries and stuff the summer before he got caught up in all the murders. So he was literally crossing the country doing all these political things, quote unquote, not killing people, quote unquote, maybe killing people. Holy shoot, bodies missing, but really crazy.
Where was W while all this was happening?
I never would involve anything. W was great, and I think W doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and he never was a fool. But I will say this:
he does claim there's some time that he doesn't remember when he was doing blowout in Alabama during those political campaigns.
I'm going to say this for everybody who was a good old boy in the 70s who lied about not doing crazy stuff. Whatever, man. I don't judge people by that. I'm not like
two words. Yee-haw.
I know we got to go to break, but I got to ask you both before we go to break. Yeah. I got to ask you both. If, as a man, as a American, do you want the president who told the other country, look, I'm going to send you food, but you got to back my plane? Be real. What? Tell me. I want to know. You want that guy in your corner?
Let's leave this for a theoretical. On the next hour, we'll be discussing the Space Force, the 13 bloodlines, and, of course, the practice of usury. Be right back, folks. 3, 2, 1. All right, folks, we're back for the second half. You were in the middle of a thought, sir. Please, go ahead.
Damn, I wanted to ask him something.
Yeah, go for it.
This is completely off subject.
Reset. It's done.
Hey, man, for the people that don't know, because they didn't bother showing up and they didn't bother asking or anything, we had a great fucking show last week.
That's why I didn't bother showing up. I was like, these motherfuckers got it.
Yeah. No, but
it was fun.
We had a great fucking show. It was amazing in my point of view. We were at the awesome Easy 8s. I don't know. You might need to zoom. Easy 8s.
He's really happy you put his picture on that fucking ticket.
I got the honor of headline. We had two showings. I got the honor of headlining the first show and opening the second one. I thought it was good and everything. Yeah. We had a great lineup. Myself, our guest here, Rudy, Joseph,
Big Freddy Mac, Madrigal.
Big Freddy Mac had a hilarious fucking set. That dude is solid.
Yeah, Joey A had a good set too.
I forgot his name. Yeah, Joey A. I had never met him before.
Yeah, man, he's pretty funny, man. And when I went to Laredo, they have a tight little crew. Dude, it was a good show, man. Yeah. You freaking killed. We had a good little crowd there in the front, man. They were freaking working it.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So the reason as into why I bring that up is because people, like I mentioned, we had two shows one night. The first show was great. The second show, in my personal opinion, we had a pretty bad crowd. Bad as in there was not that very many people, and a lot of the ones that were there were just like talking typical bar shit. Like they were talking about.
I gotta say this though. Hold on, wait. You took off. You had to roll out.
Yeah.
Gotta say though, man. Got to witness between us, like artists, musicians, wrestlers, and comedians. We're all a little different. You know, we'll travel a distance and stay on the road and sleep in our car to make less money than we spent to go tell jokes and to go play our guitars and go flip and do wrestling. And being an artist, it's interesting, man. So Big Mac had a moment, and we were getting on time. We were coming up on 2:00 at night, which the bar turns on. You know what I'm saying? They cut off everything and whatnot, and sound, everything. And he got like 4 minutes at the end. He started dying, but he went straight for the. We were talking about it afterwards, man. And he went straight for the crowd, engaged in the crowd, got the crowd going. I came back in. Rudy came back in, closed out the crowd, closed out great at the end. Like for the last 4 minutes, one table, 3 people, like having an engaging comedic. And we were talking. I'm talking to Joey. I'm actually not even talking to Joey. I'm talking to Freddie, and I go, you know what, dude? I go, thank you. I go, other people don't see that. You know, you freaking kind of ate one. And he's like, dude, I died. Yeah, I moved in and I tried to get close. And I think of so many of us who have gone through shows that we make the show go on. My very first paid gig, Raymond took me to this town, this random place, and all the lights went out in the town. My very first gig, all the lights went out right before we go up to start. And it was freaking funny, bro. Like, he went and got a generator. He literally rolled out of town. He's like, I'll be right back. He left me there with a crowd of random people, came back with a generator, and we put on a show in a barn with heat. It was freaking awesome. And you have to do things like comedy. Yeah. People have no idea the BS that this man has been electrocuted for comedy. I was sharing that story with people to get the venue that you had the privilege of closing out. Sean The story began. The story began with the electrocution of Sean and me. He looked at me. I'm like, no, we're on the opposite sides. I'm on that side. You're on this side. And Sean looked at me. He's like, that's as high as it goes. I go, I can't let go. He goes, I can't let go. I go, yeah, at this point, it's up to him.
Hey, man. And first of all, I do want to throw out there, and I really mean this.
Just to add some flavor to that story, for the people watching the video, you were doing this motion with your hands. In fact, it was each of us had an electrode in each hand, and we were holding hands. Like we were walking towards doomsday together.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's why I laugh when people were like, question you for the things that you do and things you're passionate for in this life, man. I think people at some point, if you're an artist, you just don't care. You just continue moving, bro.
I just love the fact that neither one of us cracked either.
No, you're fucking solid. Sorry for cursing.
And that's what I fucking said. That's what I told him. Because first of all, like I wanted to thank you yet again. Thank you for booking me, man. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It means a lot. It really. I'm not saying it just to say it. It means a lot. Anybody that gives me the shot, the opportunity, that books me, that brings me in. That's why I told you before the show and after the show, the first one, when you approached. No, after I did the first set for the second show, and I finished it and I came off, and you approached me. That's why I told you, man, because you told me, like, you was like, oh man, he's like, man, I'm sorry, like. You said something like, I'm sorry, it was a rough crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, you don't understand. I do this because I love it. One.
Yeah,
two
man.
is, I don't give a shit if there's 200 people in the room or 2 people in the room. I'm still going to give you the same fucking performance because that's what the fuck I got paid to do. You know what I'm saying? Whether they laugh or not, that's regardless. Like, I got paid to do something. The great Dave Chappelle could have not said it best. He said, motherfuckers, you need to understand something. I'm like Evel Knievel. I get paid for the attempt. This is what I get paid for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not all this shit lands.
That's what I'm saying. Hell yeah, man. That's real. But that's the beauty of it. Like, Eddie was talking about that too, man. Like the art form. I'm so excited, man. Like I totally believe that Eddie's going to kill it on stage. And I know a lot of people, they rag on him, whatever, man, his belief structure, whatever, or certain situations he's been caught in, whatever. People, man. But from the community standpoint, and I think Eddie's what created this. The whether you believe it or not, like the podcast mic session, like party all the time. You know, when he made his own music video and stuff, like he was just at a point where before there was internet, he hit it international, like so crazy. And I think it's what made it for us. Like really, we're one bad comment, good wave, and algorithm catch away from like not being like wealthy, but you could get rich. Like you know, if you have the right strategy and marketing ploy. You can, but it depends how you look at it. So I'll give you an example to what you're saying.
So you can catch that wave, and you'll make some money, and it'll be a large sum of money, right?
For sure, yeah.
But I strongly believe that if you are not creative and have talent, like talent to deliver your material, to be a comic, because as we all have said and agreed, and even the people that don't understand how this works, there's an artistry to this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, it's delivery.
So what I'm saying is, if you don't have that, you can catch that wave. But once that wave fizzles out, like you're gone with the wave. But what I think is it takes a certain amount of talent to be able to sustain and remain where you're at. Like, because if not, you're gonna catch that money, you're gonna get that bag. But if you catch that wave or whatever, like people that go really viral and they get famous off of getting viral.
Yeah.
But if there's no real talent, behind the talent, shit, you're gonna fizzle out.
Greg Giraldo talked late great. Greg Giraldo talked about how he
real
hit it
quick.
big.
Whatever happened to that little boy that went viral with that video? He got like fucking 20 million hits or whatever.
Justin Bieber.
Well, I don't know about the hits, man, but like you see, yet again, it's not about the hit factor is one thing. That's an algorithmic thing, but then there's like a cultural influence. Like there's something where you cross that barrier. Like, dude, a variety of things. If you go anywhere in the world right now, right, and you stop and you show people a cross, they're gonna think of Christ. If you show them a Coca-Cola, they're gonna recognize Coca-Cola. If you show them a picture of Michael Jordan's Jumpman, they're gonna recognize Nike. Mm-hmm. And if you show them freaking Mickey Mouse, they recognize Mickey Mouse. Like it's like the four most recognizable things in the world, right? And you look at that, and then you wonder for just a moment, like whose world is that? Like, is that your world? Is that my world? Do the things that revolve around that, are they funny or real because of that? There's a dude who wrote a series of books, very interesting character. Talks about propaganda. You guys ever check out a guy called Edward Bernays?
Name sounds familiar.
Edward Bernays indoctrinated and worked with Walt Disney. Walt Disney subsequently worked with the Nazis. And see, Bernays is interesting. He's actually the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Freud's a famous psychologist, psychiatrist. The cocaine factories. We've talked about the good old times Freud had, obsessed with his mother, and talks about oral fixation. And anyway, you look at the perspective and analytical understanding of that knowledge, and what Bernays does is he creates the world we live in today. See, we don't buy cars based upon what they do and what they are. We buy them because of the way they make us feel or make other people feel about who we are, what we are. And and he took that dynamic and applied it to every aspect. So he writes these books called like Propaganda, and a series of other books that all revolve around the manipulation of the populace in different regards. It's really interesting, man, because we live in that world.
It's the applied theory for Freud's id, ego, and superego.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. But from a entrepreneurial perspective, maximize.
Freud liked getting paid.
I mean, in cocaine and lewd acts, but it's interesting because you look at the debauchery.
Gold works if you got it.
Fair enough. But you look at the debauchery that could have been, was, or maybe documented or undocumented, whatever. But then you look at Bernays, this silent character, kind of like chilling in the background of history. And like, dude, hold on. Like, this guy really shaped the world we live in today. And like, it's kind of sick. Like, you think about it, like, we're chilling here. You go through your algorithm right now, you check your phone or whatever. Whatever we've been talking about is going to come up in your thing. Like, it's like, are we even the people that we are at all? Because everything around us is around us because of what we think we
Do you recall the phone conversation we had earlier today when you were calling me to get the address to come over?
Okay, yeah.
If you recall, I ended that on I thought, rather tasteful AIDS joke. And I swear not 3 to 4 minutes later, I was on YouTube, and the commercial that popped up was letting me know that you can live with AIDS and contact your medical.
They're listening.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that was such a blatant fucking.
Yeah, but okay, so you see that. And we
hilarious,
go back,
by the way.
And we go back.
I don't know if that was done on purpose.
Real quick. You know how earlier we were talking about Rockstar and Dickies?
Yeah.
All right, so I went to the restroom, right? I took a piss, and I looked at my phone because I had a couple of text messages. And then my friend was like, hey, man, did you check that thing on Amazon, whatever? And I was like, oh, shit, I forgot. So I could go to clicked on Amazon. And I could now get 20% off of your next pair of Dickies. And I was like, oh, why am I getting these?
How much for a case of Rockstar?
Yeah. I didn't see advertisements for Rockstar, but I saw advertisements for Dickies.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's because Rockstar's writing you right now. They're like, sir, we are sending you a case of our finest Rockstar.
Oh, by the way, you gotta be a Rockstar if you're sending anything to us. Make sure it's this pretty white can, Rockstar sugar free. These are the ones that we consume.
I like the raspberry ones, Rockstar. The blue ones that look like that. Just throwing that out there with the Tanguana, whatever thing.
The blue one that doesn't taste like anything that actually exists on Earth. That one.
I want 2 of those cases. Thank you.
I was going to say, though, man, it's like that one instance that that kind of went national in the news about the guy started getting Amazon notifications for baby shit, like fucking diapers and cribs and shit like that. Yeah. And finally figured out what it was, is that his daughter had been on his computer looking up things. Not even am I pregnant, just the shit she was looking up fucking led the algorithm to go, oh, this bitch is pregnant. And then immediately went, let's sell her some diapers. So basically her dad found out she was pregnant before she found out she was pregnant, because Amazon figured the whole thing out before anybody knew what the fuck was going on. Okay. So what I'm saying is, man, I could look at you for 3 seconds and go, that motherfucker wants some Dickies and some Rockstar.
Okay. So
I'm saying YouTube, motherfucker, after a private phone conversation where I dropped and it was a subtle joke, really, what it was, man. I couldn't recreate that moment. It just basically, punchline was, but you can only get it through anal sex. But
okay.
I'm saying I dropped that. I dropped, motherfucker. It was a stupid joke in a phone conversation. But I'm saying I dropped that, and not fucking 4 minutes later, who the fuck tries to sell you fucking AIDS medication on YouTube, man? Who is paying for these ads?
Okay, but you see that.
I cracked up laughing. No. I almost hope that was somebody at fucking YouTube going like, oh, hey, we got one of these notifications. This dude's going to fucking freak out. Let's try to sell him some AIDS medication.
But you're making light of that, and 1984 is a real thing, man.
Oh, no doubt.
But
how extensive is it, and how malicious is it?
Both. You bet your ass. I think it's
unfair.
I
said how. There's a degree here.
No. It's exactly.
It's
what
not
it
ubiquitous.
Is. Yes, it is. It's all seen. It's all knowing. It is Bullshit. All things all at the same time, separated, decompartmentalized in little regions.
Okay, no. You're talking about 2 separate things. I'm
not saying there's a drone following you around 365 days a year.
But when you start talking about
in your hand.
When you start talking about compartmentalization and basically the separation, like if there's not a through line of communication, if the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, then it doesn't matter. Like, look, there could be a camera on every corner, but if there's a separate entity operating every single camera and they don't talk to each other except on very special occasions, then who gives a fuck? I mean, don't be wrong. You don't want to.
I mean, you say that, but that's not.
You find out who's operating the camera on your corner, and you play nice with them, as opposed to the all-seeing. Fucking again, the totality.
I think that's a myth. I think
why a myth though?
Wait, what's a myth exactly?
I think the thought that we are at the point where that is not already what it is, to me. And understanding what I've assessed as knowledge from around, I'm
not saying we're not at a scary place.
Hold on. I don't get it. Okay. What's a myth?
The illusion that you and I are not in a
panopticon, or is that the right
word? We're part of. At this point, if you're carrying a cell phone in America,
please don't say a simulation.
No. I'm not going to say simulation. No, it's even deeper than that. No. You're participating willingly in the experiment that is life. They're creating this huge, that's all that Utah is. Utah is all a huge data collection site, gathering all this data. Everything that's being said, everything that's being experienced, every data point, all that, from everything. That's not my opinion. That's what they made that thing for. So that thing's like the mega data thing. So just in case at any point somebody does something really stupid, they can backtrack and say, oh, well, this one was here. What did he do the 6 months before? Oh, shit, he was here, there. Oh, who's this bitch? What is she doing? And then they can illegally, whatever. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there's not a need, but it goes back to the Batman thing, when homeboy Alfred or Morgan Freeman, right? When he's like, that's just too much power for one person. There are some things that I don't think we should do. We just stem cell research. You look at how hardcore that is, man. Granted, I would like to see people walk again. I get that, but then if you take it a few other steps and you're creating children, and then if there are people who do believe in souls, I'm not saying for those who don't, hey, it's cool, man. I guess they're just people, right? But it's just. the animals themselves that have been created, that have been documented, experience things that are not normal because of the separation from like their existence, I guess. At least in whatever cloning experiments have occurred.
I think you're graying the line there between stem cell research and cloning research.
Yeah, which tie closely together.
Don't get me wrong. Gattaca was a horror movie, really. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy gets away at the end, but did he really? Let me put it this way. You brought up the example of the whole real-time surveillance system from the Batman movie.
Yeah,
whereas what is actually in place right now, and I'm not saying it's not too far, that we shouldn't be rolling it back a little bit. It may be a Pandora's box and a little bit too late to put it back,
I think it's right away beyond that. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it's not real time. There is a delay to it. I mean, don't be wrong. If they want to, they can make it real time real quick.
We're not like Minority Report where we have precogs. But that's some shit too. Like,
but
are we going to get to a point where we have like you may commit a crime?
You bring up you bring up Minority Report, but there was there was still a factor of doubt even in Philip K. Dick's fictional scenario.
Okay, well, but because
there was the possibility that
hold on, but that's because there was a human / factor.
Yeah,
that's hold on, wait, that's the whole point of that theory.
You don't think Dick wrote that on purpose?
No, he did. Hold on, because I understand the story. That's my point. So we are going in a different direction. We're going in the counter creative, transhumanistic, robotic type setting where we're going to be. It's like stock trading. Now people don't stock trade or day trade. People, where the real money's at, is creating these tickers and these floors, and then capturing these algorithmic bytes. And you make your assessments and your stops and your flows, and then they're running the market like that. Well, guess what they're doing, man? They're going to run that shit with our lives. Like that's how they're going to pick your insurance, man. Oh, Omar Rodriguez is 400 pounds. Mr. Rodriguez was a smoker for 20 years. Oh, okay. The calculated risk and the assessment of proprietary responsibility for the assessment of the manner of lifestyle. This gentleman is we're freaking numbers, Buppa.
Can I throw a slight tangent in here real quick?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Have you watched the series Black Monday?
No, I'm not.
No.
By all means, Don Cheadle fucking acted his goddamn ass off. I can't remember her name. The chick that played the sweet singing hooker from Hustle and Flow.
You're the
what
third
is this?
person.
What is this called?
Black Monday.
Black Monday. You're
Black
the third person.
Monday.
To tell
I'm not entirely sure. I never bothered to look it up. It's one of those scenarios where, like, oh, if it's fake, I don't even want to know. I want to believe it's real. But like, it claims to be based on like a real situation that happened in the 80s, where. Not to really spoil anything, but this guy brings in an algorithm and tries to introduce it to stock trading on Wall Street. Cool. And basically is proven, now granted, fictional scenario, but I thought it was almost an optimistic, more human, more in line with how I kind of feel about it, where, I think the human spirit will break through any kind of artificial system that we try to impose on it that is not complete and total in its coverage. But what I'm saying is basically is introduced the idea very quickly that human fallibility and human spiteful maliciousness in certain cases will very quickly foil a system that does not have, like, we would have to have a true artificial intelligence, which we don't have yet.
We don't have that. So you look at like there's
we're arguing with pocket calculators.
Well, it's even scarier than that, because we're foolish enough to put these things in positions of dictative, like, authority. We just freaking made one a citizen. Like Egypt made what's her name a citizen and gave it rights and extension. Not fully, but still what it is. Anyway, when you look at that whole like world, dude, it's just cool, man. Like it's cool, but it's a little like from a biblical perspective, I saw something. I
like how he keeps going back to that.
Yeah.
From a biblical perspective.
Yeah, man. Like, okay.
How did I start this off? He's a complicated man.
He's a complicated man. Hey, and no one understands him but his woman. That's Shaft, though. That's Shaft. That's John Shaft. No, man. But from a perspective, so like at one time, historically, in context, you can see.
Were you historically disenfranchised?
I can tell you that I believe that because
you just learned that word yesterday, motherfucker.
There's a really cool book that a friend of mine that a friend of mine believes was written by a ghostwriter, probably CIA, to spread disinformation. But it's a really cool book, and they actually made a lot of kids read it in college. It's called Discovering America as It Is by Vladis Analauskas. And this guy writes a book about how messed up Russia is and gets put in a Russian prison. Then he writes a book about how messed up Russian prison is. And then they're like, should we kill this guy? Like, nah, man, we got to exile this guy. So they send him to America, and he's like, dude, I made it. I'm in America. So cool. And he writes a book called Discovering America as It Is. He talks about how messed up America is and all the things we do. You know that we live in the region of the United States where we have the highest mental retardation rate because they ran experiments in our water, and that's not my opinion. He also talks about the Tuskegee experiments and a variety of other interesting disenfranchising, historically documented occurrences. We're in one of those beautiful regions too, man, just in case anybody wants to talk about the founding fathers of our region and what they allowed for profit. Anyway, but it's pretty cool when you make all this shit up as you go along. Fact check me. Anyway, hashtag me pasé. Who's up, man? Tell me a story, bro. What you thinking, bro?
Not much. I just did kind of occur to me, and probably not for the first time, that it seems like everybody has at least one special cousin down here.
Yeah, 3, 4, maybe 5.
Oh, man. Willie's got an extra finger on his forehead.
You know, it's interesting when you look at the
when he
region.
wiggles it, yeah.
Well, no, not just that, man. Like, what can we do? Like Freddie, like for example, man. Like, you look at your comedy, Sean. You look at the creation of this itself, man.
By the way, I want to go back to how
sure,
we
man.
started the first hour. No, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, man. Like from a perspective, man. Where can we go that that influences the region here locally, man? To see not just what you're doing artistically, but what's important relevantly. Because like we do have a voice, man, and I think some people don't utilize.
Okay,
that.
That's why.
Two points
That's why I
to the-
think. Okay, go ahead. Because I already went first too many times. So go ahead.
Yeah, we almost came up with a safe word to just be like, shut the fuck up, let somebody else talk. Where was I going? Okay, 2 points. One, we were talking in the first hour about like direct democracy. You know what I mean?
Man, for
like
sure.
everybody actually participating in the selective choice. And I think at the local level, at the municipal, at the county, perhaps even at the state level, in a lot of instances. Again, in Texas, it's a little more complicated. We have a representative system.
A lot of different regions in Texas.
What I was going to say, and very true, we've got 250 counties in the state of Texas. All of those are governments that contain within them dozens, if not hundreds, of municipal governments. So, what I'm saying is participation at that level of direct democracy, where you are actually, one voice, one vote, yada yada, and actually having to engage with those around you in a discussion about, do you want to pool your votes in a voting block, political party type scenario? In that case, something like that would be. I think about how much leverage local politicians get when they do the mass voting registration drives and all that shit, and they get people out there. And granted, and this is without. Don't get me wrong. The really corrupt and dirty shit on top of that is egregious. But what I'm saying is, just at the hearts and minds, get out, talk to the people, have a barbecue, come down, meet and greet, shake some hands, kiss some babies level. Motherfuckers get shit done. You know what I'm saying?
I think
then you add putting dead people on the voting registration list, and shit gets really interesting. But what I'm saying is, direct democracy at that level is probably going to remain to be the greatest tool for change that you're going to be able to see in your vicinity.
I think local government.
Okay. Point two. This is where I was getting.
Yeah.
I brought this up before, man, a couple times when we've done spots on other people's shit. I don't just consider this podcast a place where we can,
You just reminded me where I was going.
Okay. I don't just think of this as some place where we can big up the local scene, and by all means, big up the local scene. But also, I would like to increase the, let's say, not only, let's say, quality, but the quantity and productivity of the conversation that is being had at the local level. Like,
oh, for sure, man.
Like, dude, you ever watch any of those political programs from like back in the 60s and 70s?
Firing Line's one of my favorites.
Even if you disagreed like just vehemently with the motherfucker that was talking, you had to agree. Motherfucker was at least talking pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was conducting himself civilly. You know what I mean? When somebody got out of line, dude, you couldn't have motherfucking what's his name, Sean Hannity. Fucking what was the jackass that kept groping his interns? Bill
O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
That guy could never have gotten any play in the major media back in decades past.
I mean, you look at. I really love Firing Line, man. If you ever get a chance, you ever check that out, Freddie? Firing Line?
No.
Dude, they had like the greatest conversationalists.
Is that the one with Buckley?
That's William F. Buckley.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Everybody that you can imagine, from Muhammad Ali to Norm Chomsky, Woody Allen, like just.
Oh, dude, the one with
Sinatra.
Chomsky, dude, where you could
It's
just
hardcore.
see Buckley, the seething, just like, oh, you commie piece of shit.
But a great conversation.
Yeah.
Like two intelligent perspectives being dissected.
Dude, it's like watching a knife fight. Like, they are out for blood, but they are doing it so gracefully that it's like a dance.
It's interesting if you look at their seating, like they're master conversationalists, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever seen Karl Rove, the architect, or like?
He's a bit of an architect.
Or Dick Cheney. Like, if you ever see these guys speak, like people don't realize there's a way to talk, man. They're deep, bro. So I got a question, man, on this scenario. With where you're going, Freddie, what do you see on that, man?
And fuck, I don't want to sound corny, but
No,
I was really gonna say thank you for asking, but I really do mean it. Like man, look, and I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because we only have less than an hour to go, right? So I'm gonna kind of drop it on you and go through it as fast as I can, but so that
Freddie,
you can understand.
we're hitting the half-hour mark right now. I will give you the rest of the half hour if you can.
And I don't think I need 30 minutes. It's simple, man. Look, I'm gonna start off by saying I love comedy. The purpose of comedy is to alleviate your stress and make you laugh. Those are the two, make you laugh most importantly. But this is why I love Dave Chappelle to death. Because Dave will make you laugh your ass off, but within the same rhythm, on the same token, he will give you a piece of his mind, like his real belief, and he'll tell you, this is my belief. You don't have to believe it. This is what I believe, and this is why I believe it. And then he will, in the same hour, will educate you on some shit that you might not know, or maybe you did know, but he's giving you a different perspective, so he gives you insight, right? So this is my point. As to my example with Dave Chappelle, my point is that is comics, and then I'm gonna speak about myself because you might have a different perspective, a different goal in your career. You might have a different goal in your career, and that's fine. But I feel that we both believe in God, right? We've had this conversation. We're not gonna go down that route.
This motherfucker keeps calling me an atheist. I'm starting to get offended.
So
he's a Pastafari.
So we believe in God, right?
You mispronounced apostate.
So I believe, very simple. I'm not going to get religious either. Very simple. I believe that I was put here for a purpose. Sure. I was here to fulfill a purpose. You were here to fulfill a purpose. You're here to fulfill a purpose. It's up to us individually to find out what that purpose is. I'm not going to get into that either. My point is that I feel that I figured out what my purpose is, and I'm doing it, right? Yeah. So, through these different avenues, going back to what you're saying, this podcast, I love doing this. This is why I do it, first and foremost. And again, I love comedy. But through those two avenues, I have two tools. And I want to use these two tools to serve my purpose, per se. So to whatever message, whatever thing that I have to give to the world, that's what I want to do. And I'm giving you the short story, the short version of this. That's what I want to do, right? My point is to fulfill that purpose. I feel that I can do it doing this. So, to cap off my point, me and Sean have talked about this before. There is me again. Me. I mean, at the end of the day, God has his last say so, the last word, whatever. But I do have my first 3-hour specials like planned out. You know what I'm saying?
It's cool, man.
So my first hour special is very simple. My first hour special, I'm just telling you who I am, where I come from, why I am the way that I am, and I'm sharing my experiences that I deal with. My second hour special, I'm gonna tell you what it's like to live in this world being me. My third hour special, I'm gonna tell you what it's like to be me as a parent. You know what I'm saying? Just a parent. We might have the same struggles, but whether you want to believe it or not, mine are different than yours.
For sure.
And I'm gonna give you that perspective. Now, my point is, within those 3-hour specials, I want to give the world or the people, whoever watches it, I want to give them a perspective, a thought, a process like Dave does. Now, you don't have to believe the same shit I believe. You don't have to believe that there's one God. You don't have to believe whatever. You don't have to believe in monogamy. You don't have to believe in polygamy. Whatever the case is, we don't have to have the same beliefs. But I want to give you some insight to what I believe, why I believe it, and through that, I would like to be able to make a positive, if I'm able to, a positive impact before I leave Earth. Because again, that's what I feel that I was put here to do. You know what I'm saying? So I feel, again, going back to what you were saying, that this platform and my comedy was the undeveloped, because I still feel that there's more development, the undeveloped talent that God has given me to make people laugh, use that as well to deliver whatever message it is that I have. Another thing that a lot of people don't know, eventually, somewhere down the road, I want to integrate not into my comedy, but as a branch of me, motivational speaking. Because again, I fall back on what I said originally. I feel that I have something to say, and it needs to get out there. And I feel that through motivational speaking, I would be able to. And I didn't even, to be honest with you, bro, before I started doing comedy, I didn't even want to do that. That was like motivational speaking wasn't even a thought. It wasn't, because I always thought, what the fuck can I tell anyone that would want to be like, oh yeah, man. But I have a friend, I'm not going to mention who he is. I had a friend that he's been to a couple of my comedy shows, but he told me, he was like, hey man, you ever thought of doing motivational speaking? And I thought he was bullshitting with me. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. He was like, no man, I know you, and I've heard your story. You've said it over and over, and it's fucking motivation. And I don't see it that way. But then I had a second person tell me something along the same lines. So when I had the second person tell me, I was like, you know what, maybe I should, dig into that. So another thing that I'll tell you is I've already started writing my first motivational speech. Not done yet, but I've started to cause, and the second we know this person, I'll tell you off camera. The second person that told me, they told me that same thing. They were like, you ever thought about doing motivational speaking? I was like, well, fuck, that's why I should do it. And they told me, if you ever do want to do it and you get it together, the place where they work, they hire motivational speakers.
That's
I was
cool.
like, I can speak to my boss, and I'm pretty sure, dude, she would hire you. Now, don't bring a comedy in here because she gonna kick you out.
Yeah.
But if you can get a motivational speech going and you can show your resume,
That's cool, man.
I'm pretty sure she would hire you. So that's what I'm saying, man. I think that we all have a purpose. We all have to find what that purpose is, and really do what it is that you're here to do. Now, if you don't know what that purpose is, and a lot of people don't understand when I say this, but I encourage everybody to sit and think about what I'm about to say. If you don't know what your purpose in life is, think about it this way. Take some time, and you don't need a lot of time. Take like an hour and just sit and think, what can I do or would I do that would make me happy to do the rest of my life? Don't think about the money. Don't think, can I monetize it? Can I make money with it? Don't think about that. Just think, what can I do for the rest of my life? Hopefully that it's legal. That would make me happy.
Yeah, man.
For the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that whatever the fuck that is what you're here to do.
Yeah. I can tell you that in having done the radio and done the open word news thing for about 4 years, I can tell you that in having taken some years off, it's something that in looking at the political structure, that's my thing, man. I feel like this, it's this overwhelmingly responsibility to, for being somebody who's an educated fool, I guess, like somebody who never had formal education.
So real quick,
let me finish. I just want to say this.
Oh.
I think it's sad. Freddie. Like a lot of the folks, like you want to be a motivational speaker. You care. You want to share. You want to build with people. There are people who run for our public offices that don't give
don't give a shit. You know why? You know why? Because there's money. Everybody is in this shit for money, bro.
Yeah, and
everything is profit. If I can't profit from it, I don't want to be a part of it. And I get it, man. I get it. I'm not gonna say that I never thought of money. I get it because it sucks being fucking broke. I'm in the middle of it. I completely understand. But we've had this conversation many a times. The reason that I feel that the world is fucked up today is one simple reason. Because we fucking forgot the most basic things. I don't care if you're white, black, gay, lesbian, Republican, Democrat. We forgot that at the end of the fucking day, we're fucking humans. And we forgot that shit. I forgot that Omar is a fucking human. Aside from his political beliefs, his religious beliefs, whether I agree with you or not, he's still a human like me. And I forgot that. So because of that, they label you a criminal. If you commit a crime, I get it. That's not the point. But they label you a criminal. They label you a racist because you don't agree with what they agree.
It's even more than that, man. We pass judgment on people for the way they dress, the way they walk.
Exactly.
I know. I was at
I still want some dickies, though.
You still want some dickies? it's what it is, man. What you thinking, Sean, over there?
Now, I wanted to ask you real quick. This is what I was going to ask you because I didn't want to lead away from it. Did I answer your question?
We're solid right now, man. As far as what you see in perspective wise, man. But I gotta ask you too, then, man. Like, and follow up to that since you said that. As a whole, guys, it's right now. If we're going to progress, right? Mm-hmm. Not only as artists, right? Like for example, you're talking about the.
You're saying we or we as a society?
Like we as a society. Like
okay,
people,
that's
right?
a bigger picture.
That's a bigger picture, right? Like
yeah.
So, like, because like for example, you can't do everything for the money. Like it really can't, man. Like
what are we doing right now?
Yeah, I think because it's more important.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
more
I'm saying.
important to have a conversation. I think I've had that conversation with different folks throughout time recently, especially in the last few months. Just talking about like professional climates. You know, like we should be closer as a people here in Texas and here in South Texas than we are, with light of everything that's legitimately going on around us. We should be more aware of things, and that's just real, you know. And like in the positions that we're in, having this art form, the thing that we're sharing, it's almost, I feel like sometimes we have a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
we do,
like to share with people.
We do
a certain thing. You know, you talk about what you love and what you're a part of.
Just to jump in there real quick before we start patting each other on the back and
No.
trying to see if we can bend over at the waist to suck our own dicks.
I can't do it because I have this bad knee.
And I got a bad back.
You know, it's not really your knees you're using when we'll talk about that later. What I'm saying is, man, like when you say we have a responsibility, I agree to the point that if our responsibility is to do whatever the thing is we're doing, whether it's an art form, whether it's a structured task, if you're doing the thing properly to the best of your ability and with full embrace of the act itself, I think that's where your responsibility is. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're a fucking, a Viking here to rape, pillage, and murder, then maybe your best job is not the best for the whole of society. But 9 times out of 10, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you have determined to be the thing that you should be doing, then you're going to be adding a benefit to your society.
I get that, and I agree with that. Going on to that point, and what you said earlier, what I wanted to cap it off with was that an understanding that you may have, and again, that you have to have, and I'll speak for myself, is I've grasped also the understanding and the knowledge that I know that I will not change the world. I'm not. But I do have to do my part in putting that effort. And that's what I was going to relate it to. Pac couldn't have said it best. He said, I know that I'm not going to change the world, but I guarantee you that I will spark the mind of the child that will. That was his belief. What I'm saying is, I know I'm not going to change the world, but I have to do my I don't want to call it a debt, but my due to society to leave the print of that I did my part, like you were saying, to society to make that imprint and make sure that I did what I had to do to do that, to put, at least push in the right direction, and again make sure that I fulfilled what I was put on here to do. Because I feel that if you never lived to find what your purpose was, then I mean, a lot of people may disagree with me, but I feel that then you kind of lived your life selfishly, in a selfish manner, and you also, you didn't really live.
You played it safe.
Yeah, Freddie, man, just to throw this out there, just to kind of clarify what I was trying to get at specifically, was like, I think there are a lot of people who are very competent and talented artists of various stripes, whether it be musicians, writers, comedians, blah blah blah, whatever. People who are artists, who are in the act of creating art, which, as I've thrown out before, my working idea at the moment is that art is the thing that asks questions. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas I think there are a lot of people that, even while they're doing, I don't think good art can be frivolous. If it's asking questions of any sort in a way that is fulfilling that function, I don't think any of it's frivolous. But I think a lot of people get frustrated because, I'm not, I'm not doing something. I'm not, having the effect. I'm not sending the message. I'm not. No. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of frustration that comes about through that. And I think there's some people who conflate.
And what I want to say to that frustration is, another thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to keep in mind all the fucking time that you can only worry about the shit that you can control. And what can you control? You can only control the shit that's within your reach. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever is here is what you can control. What I'm saying is you can't be worried about just a very extreme example, but see what I'm saying? If Russia is creating fucking weapons of mass destruction, it sucks to me. It sucks. But Freddy, can't be worried about that.
You don't have Russia on speed dial.
Exactly.
Okay, or at least not that you would admit on this podcast.
Exactly. And I cannot, that's not within my reach. Right. But you know what's within my reach? There is a 10-year-old kid here that does not have... Not actually in the studio.
Yeah, do not call the cops, not. Please. Do not inform the FBI.
That does not have a father.
The door gets kicked.
That does not have a father.
Fuck, they were waiting.
That does not have a father. You know what I'm saying? That does not have a direction. That does not have a way of life. That does not understand that. So the chances of this kid becoming something totally that's gonna, fuck up the world in many different ways becomes greater.
Dude, I'm sure it's
Hold on, but that notion I gotta say though, like, Freddie, do you vote Democrat? Have you heard of Freakonomics?
I don't. First of all, I don't vote for.
Omar, if you're gonna speak softly, speak into the microphone, man.
No, I'm just saying. No, because we're saying. I go. Have you heard of Freakonomics? Because there's like a whole science behind like this belief structure that like democratic regime type voting brings in and about, man. I just think it's interesting because like you can. I
think it's very similar to that whole. And again, this is one of those things that gets tossed around maybe a little bit frivolously, to be honest. But what is it? Hard times produce hard men, who produce soft times, who produce soft men that produce hard times.
That's
true.
That's a real thing, though. So, like, where are we?
Yes, but it's not always that simple, and there's multiple cycles. There's multiple cycles that are running.
I agree, but I'm just saying that's true to an extent.
Dude, one of the things that
that's why I feel that real quick. That's why I feel poverty.
Yeah,
living in poverty is not all that bad.
Oh no, it keeps you sharp. I tell an uncle, one of my uncles cracks me up. One time I was at a meeting with a lot of people. It was a new cell phone company, and they had all these things. And the one thing I asked, I go, well, "Show me a phone." And the guy was like, "Nah, man. Well, you send the developmental stages, blah blah blah." And I'm like, hey, look, dude. Like, all these people are your colleagues. You're a professional man. You're very wealthy. I go, get all these people out of here, bro. You're getting scammed. And he's just laughed at me. The guy's like, "No, man. What's wrong with you? You're making." And I go, "Hey, look, man. If I can't see it, if I can't hold it, I don't know, man. I'm old school. I just left, and everybody got scammed, like doctors, lawyers, like, and it's like, it's not about titles, man. Like a lot, I used to be a bill collector, and I remember collecting for doctors and lawyers, and I would crack up, man, because it's like, it's not always the most educated person that makes sense in the room. And sometimes we should kind of like look at that, like from our legislative perspective, we're talking about the direct representation, and like just kind of like tying it all back together. Like even the perspective of like Dave Chappelle got a lot of heat for the ladies don't talk about, or no, guys don't talk about it. Ladies, it's your decision. Guys, you have no place in there. That's a woman's choice. But ladies, if you can kill a little bastard, I should at least have the right to abandon them, motherfucker. Yeah. And it's like that's horrible, but it's fucking, it's like that's so real, because it's like hey man, like yeah, from some perspective, like that might make sense somewhere.
Well, okay, I would suggest that falls into a category of conversations that it's a fucked up conversation. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to have to think about it.
You don't have to think about it.
But if you want to live in a society that is going to take that kind of shit seriously, which I think is one of the reasons we say there have been so many people throughout the last, well, fuck it, let's be honest, 1,000 years or so, who have basically said, society is falling into detriment because people do not take these things seriously anymore. Well, part of that is because, we haven't been taking shit Seriously, where if we don't have the serious conversations and break it down to the nitty gritty, go, okay, in this scenario, how would we play it out?
He hit on the money earlier. Come on, man. You tell me you have public executions on Tuesdays for pedophiles and rapists. I'm pretty sure the statistics are going to go down. Yeah. I mean, call me crazy.
Or you wind up with the Catholic Church hiding pedophiles for who knows how many 100 years.
And see, and you look at from a biblical perspective. Sorry.
You about to go on an anti-papist rant?
I'm just saying. There's a reason that the modern Reformation movement has a legitimate stance, and church history shows that there has obviously been a division. Martin Luther was not just like in everybody. It wasn't an imagination. They caused a legitimate schism and division of the church, and it's obvious, man. And then the Catholic Church, it's questionable. There's people online talking about Reformation, and I know it's a very uncomfortable subject because
just from what has happened not only in my lifetime, but say in my the people who I've known's lifetime. Let's say the last 100 years. You know what I mean, and what's likely to happen in the ongoing future.
Okay.
I don't believe that the Catholic Church is nearly as solid and unmoving a foundation as it is presented to most.
I'm not saying I agree with the following statement. I'm just saying there's a big belief structure around how when you look at Revelation and you look at forget my opinion. Who am I? Look at Scripture. Open it up, right? That's why it's there. When you look at it and you break it down, there's a legitimate division between church and the church that will be accepted, that is the false church. And that is a real separation, not in my opinion. Like that is the real conversation. There's the open church that talks about it and says, oh no, we're all Christian, one road, it's all Rome. And then there's some real no, there's not. There's separation, and you're not us and we're not you. And you're over here. That's why there's Latter-day Saints, and that's why there's JWs, and that's why there's a real, and it's interesting. A lot of Christians don't like that uncomfortable. That's a deep one because that brings real
opens.
Look, I'm gonna throw this out here. Look, I've stated before. I am not. I have a bit of an aversion to say Pentecostal doctrine in a certain sense. As we were having a conversation a while back about the about the statement that really kind of made me sit up and take notice was I was at a wedding one time, and the statement "we must fear God before we can love each other" was thrown out by the grandfather of the bride, who was presiding over the ceremony, and things just got a little bit no, and it wasn't that going in. Long story short, I went off on a bit of a tangent there. My point being is, if Revelation, I take Revelation with a pound of fucking salt because of the fact that let's say anything that comes really close to prophecy in the Old Testament or even in the Gospels.
This is New Testament, by the way. Revelation.
Let me finish this. The Old Testament and the Gospels. Anytime that there is anything that comes close to prophecy, which I would suggest if you go back and reread it, there's very little that comes close to would be considered prophecy.
Some people believe it's already always fulfilled, though. You realize that, right?
Let me finish, though. Okay. It's always in general definable terms. There's no allegory to it. There's no this, that. You can say...
Because you got to understand, bro. You got to understand.
Revelation is all allegory.
No. But okay.
There's no other way to read that.
Okay, but you got to understand. But a lot of people, and I don't want to go too deep into this.
If the bitch don't show up on a multi-headed dragon wearing a red dress, I'm going to be pissed as fuck. But here's what I'm saying. If that bitch shows up on a multi-headed dragon wearing a red dress, I'm going to go hang with the Pentecostals because the motherfucker that's handling rattlesnakes ain't scared of shit.
You're not understanding. And
Just saying.
This is the best way.
You feel me on this. I know you don't agree with me, but you feel me. I can see you.
All I'm going to say is this, because we don't have another 2 hours to spend on this shit.
We're coming up on the time limit right now.
So what I'm saying is people need to understand, and I'm speaking very vaguely on it because, again, we don't have time. Half of it of the Bible and what you read, Jesus was on earth. And Jesus came, performed miracles, Jesus' life. He was amongst the people, so on and so forth. So things happened. He was here. The other half was written when he wasn't here, after he was crucified, after he was gone. He left his promise. He left basically a map, if you will, to how to live a sacred eternal life. Point being, when you go into the second half and what you're talking about, the prophecies, the dragon, the churches, the division.
You keep saying half, but it's really just the last chapter of the book.
No, half of it.
Revelation.
No. He's talking about like how
I'm talking
after
about
Christ was risen, the living Christ rose, and then after that point,
you're literally breaking the individual gospels down.
Yeah. He's talking about
first
like
act, second act.
Yeah, like because Colossians and like all those are letters.
Again, that's why I said that I was going to be very vague with it.
Yeah.
Because my main point is Jesus was here. It was part of it was written. Jesus was crucified, left. The other part of it was written.
Right.
The main point that I'm trying to point out with you is that you have to understand that the part that was written when he wasn't here, that is exactly the reason as into why it was written in prophecy. My second point.
No. You're using prophecy wrong there, because here's the thing. Let us assume I have no qualms whatsoever with the resurrection. I am taking at face value.
That's what I'm trying to tell you that you can't do. You cannot take the second half of the Bible for face value entirely.
You can't.
And that's what.
No. But I'm saying I'm even willing to give. I'm willing to give a large portion of doubt in this scenario,
and that's why it's a prophecy
to the Gospels. When it comes
even in the Gospels,
but when it comes to the Book of Revelation, it's a different beast that has no precedent whatsoever in any other bit of that text.
I got a question. It would have been cool to watch him walk on water, right?
Oh,
it would have been it would have really been cool, dude. Like I've seen some cool stuff in my day, bro.
I'd have followed the motherfucker. I'd have followed the motherfucker.
I follow people for way less. Like, why would I not follow? Like, why would I not?
And this is where we are like separated. I'm talking about we here and we as in the world.
Yeah.
Because and again, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I hear and from what I get from y'all, y'all don't believe that.
No, I do. I believe that the entire context of the Bible is true.
I'm put. Why you couldn't?
I cut off there. I can't hear you.
There, got knocked into. Hold on.
The NSA.
Come on, damn it.
The CIA has.
So all I'm saying is I'm talking about the miracle, the walking on water.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%. But then again, it's me believing in Jesus 100%. I believe Jesus existed. I believe that he did what he did, so on and so forth. And I understand that people don't, for various reasons.
You know, here's the weird thing, though. You can't, if you believe he walked on water, here's the thing. You don't go, you know what? He walked on water. He probably came back to life. You go, he came back to life. He probably walked on water. There's no way you believe one and not the other.
No. You have to take them all. No, wait. No, wait.
But what I'm saying is, man,
I believe that too.
The assumption has to be there kind of going into it.
Boy, I think it might even be deeper than that. Like any miracle is a miracle. Like even the water into wine. Like if you really think
that's
about
how you know he was Mexican.
No, possibly. Yeah, I got.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have told the oldest joke ever on this podcast.
No. You know what? I got to tell you this though. Dionysus got the center of the table. I'm just saying, alcohol is that important, guys.
I was
like the other gods were like they're sitting around and like Zeus was like, dude, I didn't think about. Dude, you get the middle. You get the middle of the table, bro.
I don't want to dig into this too far because we could have a whole nother conversation. We are coming up on the time limit right now, but I will say this in defense of the let's say Catholic dogma, if not Catholic practice.
I don't know. Yeah.
I believe that the synthesis that they managed to pull off after 2,000 years of trying to integrate not only European paganry, North African paganry, fucking North American paganry, the entire thing. But what I'm saying is, man, if we didn't have some institution that was trying to make that, I think what we consider schisms nowadays would be nothing more than a slight argument compared to what could be possible on the theosophical war front.
The following is not my opinion. We've had a pope commit murder. We've had a pope been murdered. We had adulterers. We had the burning of many for the sake of, why not? Conquest, sacrifice, quite definitely correlation between a variety of different belief structures integrating across generation. Mm-hmm. But I ask you this, bro. Does any of that matter if you believe you're a believer and next to you is your brother hungry and you let him starve? I think we all missed the point.
No. Again, it goes back to what I originally said.
Yeah, man.
You can only control within your reach.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So
that goes back to what
that's
you're
right.
saying.
So you got to make that call, bro. Yeah.
So you can't. I used to be that guy that would argue with people that would say like the things that you were saying, and I would get into like these heated arguments until I understood that my job is not like I hate to sometimes quote this motherfucker, but he's kind of got a point. Kanye said, my job is not to really turn atheists into believers, right? So when I understood, and I understood this way before I heard that in a song, but point is, when I understood that my only job is to tell you what I believe and why I believe it,
yeah,
and then I invite you to believe it if you want to, that's my job. My job is not to push my belief on you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So because we were created to have free will. So at the end of the day, Sean can do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and that's his right as a human being.
Oh, no.
What?
There's no way. I have to. It's only because. I just want you to know, don't agree with that. And I'd love to.
You don't agree on free will?
No, I don't. I think
Freddie, welcome to a Calvinist.
Yeah, I'm a Calvinist. Yeah, like I tell you that because.
So you honestly think we don't have free will?
All right,
I think. Hold on, wait.
Omar, can you hit 2 bullet points on this?
Yes. One bullet point. I truly believe that there are the damned. I truly believe that there are the saved, and here's why. Scripturally, I am the Alpha and the Omega, and the beginning and the end. So, if He is everything, all things, all times, in all places, in all existence, then it's already all occurred. This is merely...
No.
Hold on. Hold on, wait.
Okay.
No, I get that
you
I
disagree. I disagree.
But
yeah, he's not asking you.
No, but one of the sharpest, most intelligent theorists of all time, Albert Einstein, he thought about the string theory. And he ties it together. He thought about this because of Alpha, Omega, beginning and the end. So he talks about how string theory ties together this melodic orchestra in all of existence, and it's our frequency weight on our mass and our matter, and how these different things interlock throughout all of existence.
Talking to the microphone, and for God's sake, 2 bullet points.
Two bullet points. When you look scientifically, or whether you look at through faith and you look at through actual doctrine, like not what you think.
Yeah.
I'm not important. You're not important. But when you look at, because if you're a Christian, you become unimportant. It revolves around text. And then if it's the truly inspired word, you can either go King James. That's why some people roll hardcore King James, or you go Greek, or you want to go hardcore. You go what is it, Aramaic or something like that, like whatever. But for the most part, most people are doing Hebrew, or most people are doing King James, and King James is pretty accurate. And the separation of who, what, and how we are responsible. And in that breakdown, 2 points from Calvinistic regime, from text. The context is, if it's then and now and always, then we already exist. And then it's not about choice. It's about fulfillment and responsibility. Like Samson, where Samson was always going to be destined to be the savior and champion. Whether it was in his... It's not that. It's.
We can agree to disagree.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course we can. Of course we can.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But it means it's more like it's like Jonah and the whale. Like you can try to escape your destiny and keep going all the opposite directions, but eventually you're going to end up where you got to go.
But they had a choice.
By all means, you can leave your dad down there.
I mean, yeah. Like he kind of goes through that. Like what's his name? I think it's really cool because you're actually right. You're actually so right because I'm trying to think of his name. Is it Jacob? Who breaks God's thigh when they battle in the middle of the night? It's one of those. Is it Isaac?
I think it was Isaac.
Okay, it's either Isaac or Jacob. It's one of the two. But so one of the two fights them, and then so that you're absolutely correct because it goes back to the motivation. I had and I'll share this with you, and you can do with it what you want. But this is a true story, and I mean this, and I'm down for the motivational speaking. And this lady inspired me one day, and told me that I would do this for people across the world. One time in my life, brother, I was knocking doors in West Texas. I get to a door. And this lady offers me lemonade and an empanada, right? So which is super cool, right? Because you've been knocking doors, it's 100 degrees. I'll take an empanada any day of the week, and I'll take a cold glass of lemonade. Anyway, lady's super nice, offers me dinner, tells me her husband's coming back. She's already signing the paperwork. Great evening, right? I tell the lady, I go, ma'am, I'd love for you to work with us. You are such a nice lady. And she goes, I am an idiot. Why would you want me to work for you? Oh, I never get anything done, right? But, so she just talks about herself in such a negative way. And I ask her, I go, ma'am, do you believe in God? She's like, yeah. I go, do you know how he made us? And she's like, yeah. I go, okay, tell me. She's like, well, he made us. And I go, no, he formed us from the earth. He breathed life into us. And he made us in his image. I go, do you know how unique that is? That means like the power that he spoke and the things that he did, if you believe in what he is, then he made us to have that same power in the way we speak and the way we think. So, like, if we're self-destructive, then, like Solomon says, so a man thinketh, so he shall become. Like, that's not my opinion. Like, that's what God made you for. That's your intended purpose. So, like, there's a defining line between, like, yes, you have your destiny, right? Like, and then, yes, you have some choice. And then it's almost like a layer within itself of, like, but then the truth is, some are damned. Like, if you didn't stay faithful to the end, like, then you're not part of the chosen. Like, it's kind of
I agree with that 100%. But my point is that you still had a choice. Whatever choice you made, that's like on you. That's what I believe. And then I don't believe that it was that you were like.
Here's what gets creepy, just so you can at least entertain this, okay? Not from me, from guys who are way smarter than me. Guys like, check out Rob Skiba. Talks about eschatology and how they break down. He's from the Dallas area. Real interesting guy. Got a series of books. But really, really mind-blowing, okay. He is all-knowing. He is all-powerful. He is all-creative. If there is free will, if there is, right? If there is free will, right? So what's the point? Either way, right? Like when you really look at it, what's the point either way?
I have the
I offer something for you here.
Yeah.
All-knowing, all-powerful. What's the point of creation at all? Is there any validity to the, say, labeling of it as creation if it is not a new and novel activity of which there cannot be the foredestined knowledge?
So then when you look at that, then you have this. You look at the displacement of time and matter and reflection. So you're right. If there is the point where existence occurs, shouldn't there be a repeating factor? Because all things come to an end, all things come to a creation, right? So if this happens in a point, what if it happens in like in quantum theory, they talk about how like it's all one big time loop, and how you can basically grab all the important points in existence. There's an old show that talks about this, Quantum Leap, back in like the 90s. Mm-hmm. And like anyway, if you look at it and you look at the perspective of not just time travel, but creation itself, like God itself, existing outside of time, existing inside of time, and being time. That's pretty deep. So when you look at this is where the whole Calvinistic things. You said 2 points, but there's really 3. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. The perspective of the Trinity is crucial to the understanding. And oddly, I like afterwards, I'll show you a video that explains it much better. That of like how that breakdown makes sense. And it's almost like a spiritual faith and outreach to, if those 3 things are real, right? Because they're extensions of himself, then everything's already set. And it's okay. It's easy. It's almost like the belief that a Christian who's fully fledged would tell you, Freddie, is that it's okay for you to accept that you're special and you're chosen. And I know that sounds dangerous. Like, that sounds dangerous, right, on borderline. But it's because of the way society is and because of the pressures around you, you feel some kind of compulsion to be almost ashamed of your salvation. But that's not the way that works. It's okay to accept that other people will be damned.
Just to throw this out there.
Yeah. And that sounds very vain from a perspective that I'm saying it.
Okay.
But I'm just telling you that's a real perspective. And I'm not speaking for Calvinists as a whole. I'm just saying, like, at some point the
I want to throw this out there to you and take it in the mind that we've had multiple conversations covering the more esoteric, occult, symbolic
in the history across America. Yeah.
Well, not just that, man.
Even in our modern rocketry program.
In philosophy, man. In philosophy,
in science,
a lot of it is allegorical and symbolic. We can't escape that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man.
But what you're saying, in the sense of reflection, is very much mirrored in the vanity and arrogance of just
occultism as a whole.
Well, Luciferianism as opposed to Satanism. Again, Satan is the enemy.
Yeah.
Lucifer was one of the created, and granted, created whole hoth by Milton under a mistranslation of the word Venus in fucking Hebrew. So, yeah, the Greeks didn't know what the fuck they were talking about either.
I know that I'm not worthy of God's grace, but I hope that through his sacrifice, I can do my best to bring others close to him and change, man, and be grateful for just like existence itself, man.
But wasn't Lucifer just trying to be the bearer of the light of God? Wasn't he doing his damn job? And God just fucking put those goddamn monkeys up ahead of him. That dirty motherfucker. Look, he just wanted a promotion. He just wanted employee of the month.
That's
look,
how
okay.
it works.
So you say that, and from one perspective, that's how people like Saul Alinsky look at it. So you look at the modern era that we live in. Saul Alinsky is the guy who groomed Hillary Clinton personally. And then he's the guy who the modern, like, Chicago, like, community organizing structure that runs the political circuit. That's what Obama modeled himself after. He used to be like a gangster.
Author of Rules
not
for
a gangster.
Radical.
Yeah, he authored Rules for Radical.
Community organizer.
A community organizing book, yeah. And he said, he goes, if we're going to be good radicals, he goes, we should at least look at the history's first radical and how successful he was and how he was able to overturn at least a third of an empire for himself. Lucifer. And he and that's not my opinion. Like, that's what he dedicates his book to. So, like, people tell me this is Saul Alinsky, who was the mentor of Hillary Clinton. So when people ask me, they're like, why do you think that there's like Satanism or like occultism or stuff like that? Did you see freaking Eddie Murphy talking with Jerry Seinfeld and driving? I think I was talking to you about that, where he's driving in cars, where he's like, yeah, man, Sammy Davis Jr. and just freaking, we're chilling out there, and one night, and he just, it's a bad Eddie, but he's like freaking telling him, he's like, yeah, man, Satan is real, Eddie. It's just like, he's just like,
well, look,
yeah,
man,
he's really into it. It's like, that's crazy. Like, these people, like, are.
Here's
really
the thing, like,
that.
Satan makes sense if you assume God. You go, oh, you have the creator, you must have the destroyer. Like, the concept of
I would not give God. Hold on, wait. I would not give, as a Christian who understands the difference in the eternal structure, I would never give Satan that much credit. Like, at best, he's like on like par with like Michael. Like, he can throw down, but like there's a difference. Like, the whole point of Satan is like punishment.
This is where I think it gets diluted, man. Because when you start,
that's not my opinion. The structure.
Okay, when you start equating, that Satan, Shaitan, the enemy, with Lucifer, a fallen angel. The angels were created creatures. Even if you're talking about just the hierarchy,
the structure,
But okay, I'm just saying as a psychological concept.
But that's different. See, that's not something I'm willing to entertain.
The scorned, arrogant one is a weird concept.
Hold on.
You have to have some free time to think about even that level.
No. Okay, no. But see, that doesn't exist. That's
what
I'm trying
I really hate to be the bear and like interrupt this, but we
chicken wings.
Really are.
We're over.
Yeah, no. I told y'all 10 minutes ago we had to stop this. I told you 2 bullet points, Mr. Rodriguez.
20 minutes. I'm so sorry.
You went into
all right.
6.
Your bullet points are gone. But give them your social media. Let them know what you're at, where you're at, and what you're doing.
Dude, follow these guys, send them some money. Get this man some freaking Dickies. Are you serious?
Yo, for real, man.
Y'all are shameful. You haven't sent Dickies yet.
Them
And
Dickies
Rockstar,
were-
send me a case of Rockstar.
Yeah.
Dude, y'all can hit me up, 956-655-8144.
Oh, shit. He went straight for the number.
956-655-8144. 956-655-8144.
You need to tell him for what, though, because
Hey,
you're going to
you
get all
call
kinds
me,
of calls.
Check it out. My email is rgvtheguy@gmail.com. You know why it's RGV, like Rio Grande Valley, the guy @gmail.com? Because I'm the guy. If you need insurance, you need a diamond, you need a small Rolex, you need a new house, you need solar panels for your house. You think I'm joking. I grew up in the Pulagan. I used to sell burnt DVDs before they were DVDs. They were called VHS. You might have seen some of my better work. I mean, you picked up a copy of my Color Purple. You remember. Thank you so much, guys, for putting up with me tonight, man. I love you guys. I had a good time, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming through. It was awesome. I wanted to tell a story about you and me, about how the first time we met, I didn't get around to that. I think it would have been a pretty good share, but it was good. We'd love to have you back, man.
Man, we started to have a conversation about a comedy, an actual comedy show you guys put together, and
Yeah, and
somehow deviated into
I
theology.
didn't get back. I didn't get back to what I really wanted to talk to you about on that point. But yeah, we'd like to have you back in.
Bring me back when these guys send you a pair of Dickies, or before then. Let's see if guys.
Then you probably
even if
never come
Dickies-
back, dog.
No, even if Dickies doesn't send you Dickies, guys, all the fans, dude, send this man a pair. What size Dickies are you, dude?
36 by 30.
Mandele gift card, guys. Y'all used to send me gift cards to freaking Casual Mail. Come on, man. I used to get $5 gift cards to Casual Mail, bro. Hey, I got like
Thanks
20
for
of
the
them,
push,
bro.
bro.
Yes, bro, for sure. I got 20 of them one day. I was like, I'm going to go get me a shirt. Hell yeah, bro. It paid off. And then they closed it down. They closed down the fat store.
Those bastards.
Yeah, I cried, bro.
Freddie, let them know where you're at, brother.
Y'all can find me not everywhere, but across social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Freddy G.
You can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com, as well as Hatfield Stand Up on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen to all the audio versions of these podcasts at shoutengine.com/bouncing brains. You can also listen every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at rgvtitanradio.com. New episodes every Friday, 9 a.m. You can also listen on Stitcher, the Google Music Play app. And if you'd like to watch the video version of any episode, go to YouTube. Search for Bouncing Brains. If you enjoy it, please subscribe, because if we hit that 100 subscriber mark, we get to actually have a URL, and I don't just have to say go to YouTube and search for Bouncing Brains, though we are, again, the #1 search result for Bouncing Brains on YouTube, and I think Google as a whole. I'm not sure. Every once in a while, that electronic music
I haven't checked Google.
pops. Yeah. Anyway,
I should try that.
you know what? If you really want to support us, go to Google and just search for Bouncing Brains as many times as possible from as many different computers as possible. Just make them think that we're riding that. We'll astroturf the shit out of this and make them think we're riding a grassroots wave. So, anyway, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m., rgvtitanradio.com. Facebook. If you want to get in touch with us, Bouncing Brains Podcast at gmail.com, as well as Bouncing Brains Podcast on Facebook, Bouncing Brains on Twitter and Instagram. Folks, thank you once again from the bottom of our hearts for listening. Omar, thank you for being here, brother.
And until next time, keep it tight.
And slippery.